Hello, everybody, and welcome to Absolute Sim Racing for another round of the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. I'm Ed May, and joining me in the commentary box, as ever, is the wonderful Dan Handover. And this is a racing event that when we saw it on the comeback, we were really looking forward to, and now we're finally here, Dan. I can't wait to see all the action getting underway.
Absolutely, very true. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to watch what is going to be some fantastic racing yet again. All Sebring. I do like Sebring. Everybody likes a bit of Sebring.
It's brilliant.
I don't think you can't like it, to be perfectly honest. It's just one of those tracks that's got so much history, so much. There's just so much like bravado behind it in a really weird way. No, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be excited for this race.
I know, you mentioned a bit of the history. Of course, this used to be a World War II airbase Sebring back in the day, and they still use actually old sections of the landing fields. Sort of, as you can see here at the start, finish straight concrete sections with the large seams, which is a real key factor of the Sebring circuit, is the mixture of concrete and asphalt. It's around about just under 5 kilometers of asphalt, and then just over 1 kilometer of concrete, which means the drivers do have things to navigate and trying to, get to grips with the circuit, pun intended, because of course the difference in surface does change the level of which you can send it into the corners, and of course how bumpy the track is. Drivers have been telling me that that's a real key thing to prepare. It's just how much the track can suddenly bump and surprise you, especially through Sunset Bend. There's a notorious little bump on the inside line that we might find drivers getting caught out with that, Dan.
I think realistically, everyone's been caught out by that bump one way or another. I think, to be fair, that's probably the best way to put it. I know I've been caught out by it a fair few times myself. It's just something that you've got to hit in the right way, I think. If you don't hit it in the correct way, it just doesn't tend to work out very well. It's one of those very, very strange things. But if you can hit it right and you can use it to hook the car around, that's what gets you the lap time.
Yeah, and it's all about trying to find the time on the track as well, because of course these sessions, open qualifying session, everyone is there fighting together, and you've got to find the space to actually have a nice clear lap. We're just following at the moment the 85 of Craig McDonald. We have to see if he can. Well, this is obviously just going to be. Actually, no, is this an outlap? No, I think this is actually going to be the first proper flying laps starting to come through. He's just in the slipstream behind the 222 of Arthur Panzel. So plenty of drivers already out there looking for a good way through, but there's a lot of understeer there on initial turning for Craig. What is this going to be when he comes across the line? Have a look at some of the other times coming through. Andy McEwen off to a flying start, a second better than anyone so far. Arthur Panzer with a nice lap, half a second down from our provisional pole sitter, but this is early days in qualifying. Jason Cooper yet to set a lap time, so we'll be keeping our eyes for him. I think he's actually just rounding through Sunset now, so we'll be able to see what Jason Cooper can muster for his first flying lap. And look at the line he takes. He's a lot tighter. It means that he opens up the throttle that little bit earlier. Look how close he gets to the grass on the exit. And now he'll cross the line. Where will this effort put Jason Cooper? Up into second place. So for the moment, Andy McEwen holds on to the lead of qualifying, but there's still a little while to go. 9 minutes remain in this qualifying session. Nick Clemens will be hoping that there's not many more mistakes like that coming into, well, the very tight hairpin.
Yeah, I was just actually looking. I just went to Nick Clemens because he just set a purple first sector. Speaking of purple first sectors, Sam Smith has now just set a purple first sector. This is going to be close. Bear in mind, Jason Cooper, okay, the only purple sector he had was in the last sector, sector 7. Okay, everything else, it was a personal best for him, but it wasn't purple. So he's still only 2.5 tenths away from Andy McEwen. And he's still got a few more purple bests, purple sectors in him, I am absolutely sure. Sam Smith with a very good second sector as well. Jason Cooper with an equally good, if not slightly better, second sector. It's going to be very close. Again, we've got to think of the extended time here as well. The additional time around this lap. It's 2 minutes and 20, give or take 2 minutes and 24, 23 seconds. It's not a short amount of time for this lap. So to have at the moment already, as we see gaps here of less than a tenth of a second, less than half a tenth of a second in fact, again, how close these drivers are, we would normally expect to see these lap times in a minute and a half lap, maybe even less, but a 2.5 minute lap. It's a very, very impressive thing for everyone to be, again, still this close at a track like this.
Yeah, BSR always gives us good close racing, good close fights in qualifying. Just seeing what Andy McEwen do. He's coming through the final sector now, as is Craig Cockrell, Julian Schroer, and Michael Seal. So there's still a little bit of time for these drivers to make improvements. Andy McEwen with a sort of even split between personal bests and, well, that's not an improvement, unfortunately, for Andy at this stage. Julian Schroer as well, not able to get up higher than third. Seeing some of the times come through, though, I wonder actually, there's only a few valid lap times on the board, and that could be because drivers are running wide and getting lap times invalidated. And across OL, only 2.5 minute lap time. If you say make a mistake early doors, run a bit wide out of the first corner, it's such a long wait until you can have another bite of the cherry. Oh, as we see Jason Cooper going fastest of everyone. So that's a great effort there from Jason into the 2-minute 23. So 2-minute 23.972 for current championship leader. Very good, but Andy McEwen isn't that far behind, a 10th off. That could easily be made up. Let's go on board with him here through this mid-section. Got to really get your lines right. Apex nicely bumping over the curb, having to get an overcorrection. That's going to slow him on the exit. He's not been able to carry the momentum. So this might not be an improvement for Andy McEwen, but it all depends on what he can do on the other half of the lap, because he's got plenty of time, plenty of space to make it up. But you can see, no, he abandons this lap time, taking the right-hand side to let faster traffic through. So Andy McEwen's going to wait a little bit of time, maybe get the tyres to cool off, and then go for it once more.
I think you've got to play it sensibly, haven't you? As we just got the best times now up for everyone. How many people in the 25s do you want? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 people within the 25. There's a fair few people in the 24s. The only person that's in the 23s is Jason Cooper, and I believe he's all similar times from him in practice. Andy McEwen, though, as you say, he's got just over a 10th to make up, and that's a relatively easy amount of time, especially on a track like this. It's easy to lose it as well, though, so you've got to be a little bit careful. That was very, very close. Couldn't quite see it. It's one of the Matthew Logistics cars going slightly wide on exit. I've seen one person who has benefited was James Neve, because he got a very nice run out of that and a bit of slipstream for good measure. So I wonder if he's going to improve on this lap time. He's only got to take another 10th out, and that'll gain 2 positions for him. That'll put him in the top 5. So again, slightly shallow line on the entry, though, going into Sunset. That will cost him a little bit. Nick Clibbens just gone up into P4. Good lap time for Nick, only a few tenths off of P3. What is going to happen with James Neve? Is he going to come off this line? Is it going to be an improvement over his previous lap time? It is indeed. Look at that. Like I said, less than a 10th he gained, and that's put him up into P6. I think if he went slightly wider on the entry and carried a bit more speed through Sunset, that would have been another half a tenth probably there. So he's got some more time in the bank, I think, as James Neve. So I wonder if we're going to see him move up in these final few laps.
I thought for a moment he'd overcooked it, but he actually carries a decent amount of speed through the first corner. If maybe getting on the grass slowed him down, the car's looking a little bit squirrely at times. That could also just be down to the way he has his car set up, the way he likes to run it. Following Craig McDonald as well. Now into the hairpin. This is where we're going to be seeing many of the overtakes being made. Heavy braking, carrying the speed through. Then you've got that sort of little kink on the exit, haven't you, that could throw up a few surprises for the drivers when they're battling side by side. Just following as well, some of the times being set at the moment is relatively quick pace being set by the front runners, Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen. Still nothing really in it. A 10th of a second is all that's between first and second. So this could be very, very tasty indeed. Julian Schroer actually coming out on an out lap. Oh no, coming back into the pits. I thought for a moment he was going to get a fresh set of boots on and go for it. Craig Cockrell is on a fresh set of boots, so look out for him in the final stages of qualifying. The 11th place driver at the moment could see himself get into the top 10 if his final few laps are quick enough. Also having a look at other drivers out on the circuit. Is there a I think that's a very nice looking car behind at the moment. It's a new livery as well, actually. It's one of the 4040 cars. It's Michael Seal, but with a nice, lovely Orange Army tribute. Oh, that's a real credit. We didn't get to see that, obviously, last week, but good that Michael Seal is repping the Orange Army, actually a member of the Orange Army himself as well. So wonderful to see him supporting all of his friends there after the sad news, obviously, last week of the passing of Rob Foote.
Yeah, you know, again, there's not really much more to describe it, is there? It is a very, very sad day. It was a sad day for motorsport as well, and you know, it's good to see everyone doing their bit and you know, showing support as well for arguably the most important people within racing. Michael Linscomb Hatfield, he's now gone into the top 10, so good position made up there from him. He was around about 13th when we last saw him, so he's now up into P10 again, leading currently the AM category. Is Michael Linscomb Hatfield. I just wonder if he's going to be able to improve. This will be his last lap. Bear in mind, anyone that crosses the line in the next minute and 45, oh, that won't be it. That'll be his lap done and dusted. He obviously could hear me over the engine. He could hear what we were saying there. So I believe he may have got away with it. I highly doubt it, though, to be fair. He was very wide on exit. I don't think he'll be getting away with that, which is a bit of a shame. But if he does, though, he hasn't backed out of it yet, so he may very well be trying to continue, get a bit more practice in. Ashley Stimpson, actually P2 in the AM category at the moment. He's going quite slowly. He will get another lap in, though. It might just be, again, letting everyone go down. Might try and get a bit of a toe off Michael Seal. We can just see that's gone ahead. I think that was Michael Seal. May not have been.
That was actually one of the... that was one of the Gatton cousin. That's Craig Cockrell. And Craig, I did say, has a fresh pair of boots on, so keep your eyes open for him. This is just an outlap at the moment for the car in 12th position, the number 9 on track, seeing what he can do. He doesn't have to do much, to be fair, to improve. A lot of cars only a tenth and a half ahead. If he can find maybe 2/10 worth of time, that'll put him up into 9th place comfortably as well within that top 10. But he runs wide on the exit. That is it for his qualifying session. He won't be able to go around again. So for my money, that's Craig Cockrell's qualifying session over and done with, obviously, with 30 seconds remaining until the checker flag is waved. That's all she wrote. Unfortunately, I think a few drivers as well got very loose in the background, so wouldn't be able to improve. So it's just a matter of getting the preparation in for the racing. Seeing, though, who could challenge Jason Cooper. Andy McEwen, I think, is the only one at the moment. Arthur Panzolo rounding out through the final corner. Will he get to the line in time for one final attempt? I think it might be close, but no, I don't think he will. The checker flag will wave now. He crosses the line now. So what will Arthur Panzel's final qualifying effort be? Not enough to improve, unfortunately. He stays 5th fastest. Oh dear, Arthur Panzel not able to have a final attempt. So he's going to hope that the competitors behind won't be able to improve, but it doesn't seem likely. So 5th place is where we expect to see Arthur Panzel start the first race of the evening. Adam Fox, I think, might be one of the few drivers who actually got across the line in time. You can see his wing mirror hanging there by his side, so he must have been a bit friendly with either a wall on the exit of a corner or potentially with another driver. You can run a little bit too hot through the exit of Sunset and clatter the wall a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, you've got to be a little bit, again, you've always got to be a little bit cautious, but it can happen. And again, it's something that everyone's done. If you just get that little bit, if you push the car a little bit too wide or turn in a fraction too early and the car doesn't push when you want it to, it can just cause a little bit of upset in the car. And obviously, as we can see with Adam Fox's wing mirror there. Glenn Humberstone just having a look, 4th in the AM class, currently P15 overall. He was coming across the line. Look at his sector times at the bottom left. He's got a couple of green sectors. I wonder if he's going to move up. He does improve, but not enough to make another position. Very, very close, though. Very, very close indeed, but an improvement nevertheless. So good stuff from Glenn Humberstone. I've just noticed Arthur Panzer. He's still driving around. I mean, I don't know if he's actually got a lap. Have they actually allowed it? Has iRacing allowed that extra lap? Because he's still driving around, and it's not shown him as stopping as of yet.
I think it's just a matter of getting that extra little bit of qualifying. Not qualifying, that extra bit of practice into the race. Obviously trying maybe a different line. If he's found something that could have worked for him in qualifying, he might try and see if he can replicate that and then carry it forward into the race. Look at that though, good exit from the 85 of Craig McDonald. That helps him all the way along this back straight into Sunset. This is a wonderful corner. You actually get able to get on board with him
Robert
now
Noble.
and see just the line you can take in. Carving it through, carries the speed, and actually slows it down a little bit earlier. Bit of a overcorrection of the car, really unstable, hitting the bumps, and unfortunately, Craig McDonald not able to go any faster, peels off into the pit lane. Glenn Humberstone as well, not on a flying lap, just getting a last little bit of practice in, so we can see what the grid is likely to look at there on the left-hand side of the screen. Of course, there were drivers that didn't take any part in qualifying for whatever reason, most likely serving a few penalties. So we were to expect them to start from the rear end of the field. Just waiting, though, for, well, the session to switch over now, aren't we, Dan? We can get on with the exciting action on hand, the racing.
Absolutely, we can do indeed. As you say, you know, it's drivers unable to qualify, so let's not count those out for anyone that wasn't able to qualify. We know we've got some very quick drivers that weren't qualifying for this particular race here, so let's not count those out at all. It's going to be close, and bear in mind as well, we've got the reverse grids happening also, so let's keep that in mind as well. There's lots of things to be happening here, lots of things to be keeping an eye out for. So realistically, again, while qualifying does serve a good stead, and then Jason Cooper will obviously be he's always been, and for the last couple of rounds, isn't he? And he's been so close at getting the quadruple and getting the quad. Not only has he got a pole position, so that's the first thing he's done. That's it. That's the first thing ticked off. He's always been gunning for this 4 straight wins. Again, this isn't the furthest he's been in terms of pace. He's had bigger gaps. So I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to be close either way. But I'll just keep an eye out for Jason Cooper.
Yes, absolutely. He does start, of course, on the front row. Pole position for Jason Cooper in the Swift Cooper Esports #1 machine with Andy McEwen again alongside him at the front of the field. The 10th separating first from second. So keep your eyes open for that fight to develop as the race goes on. Then you've got a little bit of time between Andy and Julian Schroer there in third. Ahead Nick Clibbins, Arthur Panzel, and James Neve, with Craig McDonald, Luke Cooper, Sam Smith, and Michael Seal rounding out your top 10. Linscombe Hatfield, good job from the AM driver to get up into 11th place, ahead of Craig Cockrell in 12th. And then we will come back down to 13th place and see Ashley Stimpson, who lines up alongside Liam Stimpson, with Glenn Humberstone 15th, Adam Fox 16th, Simon Robson down in 17th place, ahead of Robert Noble, Colin Sansom, Pino Kryveld, Lee Holmes, Luke Grunman, Michael Clough, and Douglas Stewart. Actually, Pino Kryveld, I think, is... Well, we haven't seen too much of him, so good. I think we've seen him a few times this season, but good to see him back out on the circuit after being away for the season for a little while. Obviously, you can see the rest. Lee Holmes, Luke Grunman, Michael Clough, Douglas Stewart, Fiona Siddons, Mark Oliver, and James Clark. So, slipstream is strong around this track, Dan. It might be wise for the drivers to maybe not fight too hard for position in the early laps and try and keep it calm, but we know what they're like. They will go absolutely flat out, won't they? So, you can see the time is ticking down. When that gets to 2 minutes, expect to see the lights come on and the engine notes begin to rise up. Here we go. The first race of the evening here at Sebring is about to get underway. The drivers getting themselves ready. Who's going to get the best start off the line? Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen near enough equal on their getaways, much faster than the rest of the field, leaving Julian Schroer, Nick Gibbons, and Arthur Pansel in the background to sort out third place amongst themselves. You can see Julian Schroer trying to defend that third place. He's able to do it. Arthur Pansel looking down the inside. I think that was a move on Craig McDonald. Oh, but look at this in front. Jason Cooper makes a mistake into the first corner. And Andy McEwen says, thank you very much. I'm going to take that every day of the week. And he slots himself up into the lead of the race ahead of all of the action behind, because I'm seeing, well, left-hand side of the screen, positions changing left, right, and centre. Actually, Simpson just getting up into 11th ahead of Linscombe Hatfield. And then look at this, just a mess of MX5s, I think is the right way to describe this. Look at them all just fighting for position, battling wheel to wheel, scrambling for any track position into the hairpin. You can see a battle between the two 88 Tech cars of Glenn Humberstone and Pino Kryveld. Humberstone with the inside line is actually going to get the position here. Simon Robson tries to fight off, on the exit, and I think actually gets the position. Actually, no, he doesn't. Julian Schroer, though, what a nightmare start for him. Well, for me, he's saying that he's out of the race, but I think that could just be iRacing not dealing with the amount of action, and you can see he drops back up to the front and then drops out, so it could be maybe internet issues for the 444. None for his teammate, however, you can see him battling nicely in the background. Jason Cooper in all of this has gotten back into the lead of the race. We missed this, Jan.
As you say, we had so much action, we couldn't really see what else was going on, but definitely a lot of action to be had here. Like I said, yeah, apologies for the small little internet issues. I think it was, as you say, iRacing getting just so bit flustered with everything that was going on. What's going to happen here then between Sam Smith, and that's going to be Michael Seal. We're going to have a bit of a side-by-side action on the first lap. Oh, that was close. Michael Seal, though, just managing to get ahead. That I thought was going to be a bit of a nudge there. Look at that, how close you want to be on the exit. Who was that gone off? Couldn't quite see. I think that possibly was Nick Clibbins. So he's dropped down the order. He's going to lose 5, 6, 7 positions, maybe even 8 if he's not careful. You can just see there's a cloud of tyre smoke somewhere along those lines, and I think that's Michael Clough and Ashley Simpson that's had a bit of a coming together. So we'll see if we can get a bit of replay of that. Luke Cooper, though, flies it up the inside. And Sam Smith, though, that was why, because he's lost a fair few positions. Oh, my goodness, what on earth? Liam Stimpson and Sam Smith, that was a big incident. We're going to have to get a replay of that. Absolutely. What on earth happened there?
Well, I think, we just saw a moment there where the Simtech racing car, I think, just got a little bit loose and all of a sudden snapped across the track. Unfortunately, it's very, very unfortunate. It's the bumps that maybe caught the drivers out this time with big, big impact on their races. Obviously, we'll wait for all of iRacing to calm down a little bit before going to a replay of the incident. Up in front, though, Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper, nose to tail, but bringing Julian Schroer along for the ride. You can see the slipstream is keeping this fight nice and close. Here we have a replay here on board with Liam Stimpson for Simtech Racing. You can see the Gaton Simsport car very, very wide. Liam tries to catch the car, but a tank slapper snaps across the field of view of, I believe that was Colin Sansom, caught up in all of this. Looking with Simon Robson now, he gets a good view of the incident, and then in all of that gets a bump up the rear. Not sure who that was that gave him the little bit of a tap. Was that potentially Rob Noble?
It may have been, yes, I believe. Could very well have been. Difficult to say. It might have been Glenn Humberstone. Couldn't quite see on that replay there.
I don't think it was Glenn. I think it was one of the ATEC Tech cars, but I'm not sure if it was Rob Noble or one of his teammates. We'll be able to go to a replay of another incident. This is with Michael Clough in the RFE Motorsports car. There's a plume of smoke up the road. Oh, and does he just... Oh, he almost evades collision, but a touch onto the grass rear tyre sends him into the wall.
I wonder if he got a... So is you just... Yeah, let's just how much... Oh, it was such a minimal bit of... Oh, I feel sorry. I feel really sorry for Michael Clough there. That was so... I'm sure he'll be kicking himself with that. It's such a shame. Meanwhile, look at Andy McEwen. What's he going to have? I try and look up the inside possibly here. Jason Cooper didn't really defend it all that much. Is that he's going to try and get the cut back? He tries to give it a go, and I think Andy McEwen has just about got it covered off. They're both going to go, oh, how close do you want it to go, lads? That was about as close as you can probably get.
Andy's got the better drive out of the corner, and that was because that little bump really affects the run you can get out of the corners and makes the cutback that little bit harder, because in doing so, you hit that bump early doors. But Jason Cooper, he's going to send it into the first corner. Andy McEwen tries to fight it around the outside, realizes it's not going to work out, lifts the foot off the throttle, gets the better run, then into the second corner, hard onto the brakes. Oh, he understeered a little bit, but got away with it. Jason Cooper afforded him enough space to make sure there was no contact between the pair of them. Good, clean, hard racing here up at the front of the field. Julian Schroer just hanging back in the background. You can see him there, not looking for a move, just trying to see if he can pick up the pieces, should it all end in tears.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you've just got to be cautious now. And Andy McEwen, he's not only got to try and attack, obviously, Jason Cooper, he's got to try and watch out for Julian Schroer, and then subsequently his teammate Arthur Pantel a little bit further behind as well. So realistically, Andy McEwen's in actually a pretty dangerous position here, because he's got to make sure that he keeps up pace while attacking, while trying to defend. There's a lot of things to balance out there. I mean, we see Andy McEwen very, very experienced in the MX5s, and we've seen some really, really good racing from him. So I'm sure he'll be able to manage it, but it's just something to consider. It's a very, very tricky thing to be able to manage. All of these different little bits of tactics you've got to watch out for consistently. You've always got to balance it out as well. Douglas Stewart, though, might have a quick look up the inside of Mark Oliver. Oh, he tries to have a bit of a move. Not quite able to make it there. Again, apologies for the issues that's going on with the timing tower. I'm not entirely sure here. iRacing having a bit of a moment. Douglas Stewart, though, up the inside of Mark Oliver. What a move that was. That was fantastic
Beautiful
stuff. That was absolutely textbook from Douglas Stewart there.
So committed, wasn't he? Down the inside line. And, we've just seen James Clark, I think, go for a move on Luke Grundman. So Luke Grundman seems to be a little bit slow there. Maybe serving a slowdown, I'm not sure. But James Clark, either way, gets the position done up into 15th position. And now will try and set his sights on those ahead down the field. Obviously, bit of a margin to Glenn Humberstone, who's nearly 5 seconds clear of 15th place. So it's the packs are starting to split apart. The slipstream is helping this that factor, I guess, of the race in terms of you get these little battles breaking away at different points in the race, but still half the race to go. You can see that it is Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper fighting up at the front, but I'm not sure which way this race is going to go, to be honest. Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper, they've just been sizing each other up in this early phase. And that's going to be a real key, I think, is who's going to come out on top right at the end. We've seen how strong the slipstream is. You might want to actually be second coming out of the Le Mans curve all the way down that back straight into Sunset, because it sets you up beautifully for a run either down the inside or around the outside.
It's true. It's very true. It's a good thing. It's a good point. Got to watch out for it. You've got to be conscious of it as well. What's going to happen here, though? We've got Michael Seal and James Neve that are going to have a bit of a side-by-side battle. Nope, because that was Craig McDonald, actually. Oh, bit of a spin in the back. Who was that? Was that Luke Cooper? I think it was. Nick Clemens and Luke Cooper having a coming together. That's not going to be good for either drivers. They're both dropping down the field. And unfortunately, that's going to be any hopes of them moving or staying in their respective positions out of the window, because only 7.5 minutes left. They're not going to be able to catch that up. That was, I thought James Neve was going to have a bit of a move there. Craig McDonald, though, managing to keep ahead of Michael Seal for the time being. Again, both doing very, very well, because they're not dropping, really. All these, three drivers here, they're having a bit of a battle, and they're not dropping all that much time away from Julian Schroer, who has actually subsequently been passed by Arthur Panzel, his teammate. And the gap is slowly starting to... I will say it's coming down, but I don't think it is realistically. I think it's actually Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper are both pulling away from Arthur Panzel. As I say that, he's actually just pulled a 10.
Oh, Craig McDonald. I think he made a mistake there, just a touch onto the curb, a little bit too much. Snaps the car around. We're going to go to a replay of it here on board. So let's have a look. Turn in. Seems he actually understeers a little bit, and then just to see. Oh, that's very surprising though to see the car just dip that hard on him, and it's really unfortunate. Maybe just a little bit of an inch too far over that sort of left-hand curb, perhaps, is all it took to really send it through. And you can see the difference in lines. Michael Seal, much, much faster through Sunset. It seems to be a strong point, and he might find himself actually closing in to the battling pack up ahead. If he can have more lap times like the one he's just set, might be able to challenge Julian Schroer into the final part of this race. 5 minutes still to go, and 5 minutes for Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper to battle it out. A little bit of a wiggle there from Jason Cooper. Got his car set nice and loose, getting that extra rear rotation to bring the car through into these very tight corners, which is where Jason seems to really, really just be strong at this particular moment in time. Andy McEwen, what can he do to answer back, though?
Well, I don't like to say, we haven't got too long before we're going to find out a little bit further down the order. Ashley Stimpson and that is Adam Fox that are having a battle here. I believe that Adam Fox has just got past Ashley Stimpson. So I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to that possibly in a few moments' time. But meanwhile, look at this. It's going to be Craig Cockrell versus... Oh, that is close. Craig Cockrell versus Lee Holmes. I believe that is side by side. I think Craig Cockrell has actually got the move. Do you know what? I think he has. Good move indeed there. passing Lee Holmes. It took a little bit of time, probably longer than he would have liked, but Lee Holmes coming straight back, not leaving anything to chance. He wants to maintain this P8 at the moment. They're both on the inside, but Craig Cockrell manages to just pin it around the outside, utilise the drive, and utilise the width of the circuit as well, and manages to stay for the moment. Look at Michael Linscombe-Hatsfield, though, currently leading in the AM category. But again, if anyone that's going to want some additional positions, Michael Linscombe-Hatsfield is absolutely going to want some. Nick Clibbens, though, a little bit behind as well. This train is starting to really develop. It's 4 cars at the moment. If Glenn Humberstone can catch up, it will then subsequently be 5 cars as well. It depends how much these guys battle currently. And I wonder if it's going to turn... it's a bit of a tricky one, because if both Lee Holmes and Craig Cockrell can slow each other down enough, then Nick Clibbens and Glenn Humberstone are really going to be right on the back of this train, coming towards the final lap. Realistically as well, though, only 2 laps remain.
Yeah, not long left in the race for these drivers to battle it out. Jason Cooper, I think, just rounding his way out of the final corner now. Could be close if there's... I think, actually, yeah, you're probably right, that there's only 2 laps remaining. So Andy McEwen did drop back that last lap, but he's closing in at this early phase of the second to last lap. Look at this battling, though. Craig Cockrell of the Gaton Simsport car trying to make his MX5 as big as possible, but down the inside, are we going to see a send from Lee Holmes into the first corner? He's going to go for it, hanging it around the outside, though. Craig Cockrell, is he going to be able to hold on to position? No, he doesn't. Is the speed enough to challenge into turn 2? No, it isn't. So he drops back a position. Great send, though, that from Lee Holmes down the inside, takes 8th place and might try and work together with his teammate up at the front. Oh, but Andy McEwen is slowing down. He's got to slow down somewhere and has had to really, really back out of it. So that seems to me that Jason Cooper, that's the best news he could have been asking for. His main, challenger in this race is dropping back and dropping out of the fight, and now has a fight of his own to get on with, because Arthur Panzer's taken back that 2nd place.
It's something that Andy McEwen's going to want to get back sooner rather than later. He'll only have 1 more lap to do it after this, bear in mind. And even then, it is going to be close, but there is going to be enough time, I believe, if we have a look at the 2.5 minutes left. So they will have enough time to do 1 more lap, and then that will be it. Again, the different lines taken. Personally, I think Andy McEwen's line is the line that I prefer. In fact, you can get the car a little bit straighter as you turn into that sort of tricky right-hander that you always have to turn in a bit more than you think. It's a bit slower than you initially anticipate. So, again, the different lines that we're seeing through here, but almost identical times. So close racing, but several different lines being taken by all of the different drivers. Arthur Panzo, he's getting very, very dangerous on that curb. We saw what it did to, I believe it was Craig McDonald, and it can really, really upset the balance of the car, especially with the way that I think it's the suspension, if it drops or it bottoms out or something, it can just send you like that, and it's almost an instantaneous thing. There's no way to save it. And if something like that happens, you are but a passenger at that particular moment. I wonder if Michael Seals going to have a bit of a look on James Neve. It sounded like he was backing out then, really, so I wonder if he's waiting for the last lap.
That's probably what he's doing. Yeah, he's saving it for the final lap, as well was Andy McEwen, but it's a bit of a gamble. You need to have the faith that you'll be able to be there right at the end and you don't make any mistakes. It's always a tricky balancing act, as we see Nick Clibbens actually getting through on Krajeveld and Craig Cockrell. There's a lot of fighting going on back there. Look at this, though, Michael Seal. Look how close he gets to the wall. We've got a replay here of, I think,
that'd be why.
all of the action. Oh, and that will be why Nick Clibbens made up so many places, because there was contact on the outside into Sunset there. And I think, was that Craig Cockrell who lost the wheel? I think it was. He's unfortunately out of the race. And these final few moments, that is going to be gutting for the Gaton driver.
Indeed, Pino Krajeveld as well. First time back after a small hiatus, and missing a wheel. That's not going to be good for him. Fair play though for continuing it, but he's got to be a bit careful. He's got some cars behind him. Last thing you want to do there, and I wonder he's going to drop right down the field, but he will ultimately score some points as long as he can stay there. Oh, he's going to park it. Such a shame. I think he'll still score points. I think he'll
finish a lap down potentially. Yeah. I think he might be safe. I'm not too sure about Craig Cockrell. If maybe Craig was able just to drag the car across the line and then tow, he might score points, but we'll see what that comes to at the end. Maybe towing the car might still give him that lap back. Of course, we will find out in about a few moments' time, as this is the final lap of the race, and Arthur Panzel, instead of worrying about the battle behind, has actually been able to clear a gap to Andy McEwen in this final lap of the race. But he's not been able to close in on a wonderful, wonderful Jason Cooper, who has, well, led not every single lap, but near enough, put it on pole, and has converted that beautifully into this, what looks to be set to be a first race victory of the night. But there's a mistake here from Arthur Panzer. Is that going to open the door out for Andy McEwen? Let's go back to this fight, and you can see Andy's got the run now. The pressure might have told a little bit too much, as Arthur Panzer has already been passed coming into Sunset. Going to look for a move down the inside, but he won't be able to do it. So Andy McEwen in the final few moments could find himself still in second place, and Arthur Panzel's overcooked it. Coming into the final corner, Julian Schroer will take third place. It's all gone wrong for the 222, but the number one takes P1. What a drive that was from Jason Cooper, proving why he obviously is current championship leader. Look at that, though, across the line. James Neve just ahead of Michael Seal. And then battle for 10th place. Drag race again up to the line. Glenn Humberstone just ahead of James Clark there right at the end of the race. You can see all the others coming across the line as well. A bit of a race of attrition, considering only 16 drivers actually made it to the checkered flag on my screen. Actually, no, that's just because it's not showing other drivers out on the circuit. Again, timing screen's thrown a little bit off by all of the action that's been going on the shore.
Indeed, yes. The timing tower was having a fair bit of a moment there, which is not what we want, but at the same time, it's something that, unfortunately, it can be a little bit out of our control to a certain degree. But, Ed, first time spinning the wheel. What do we reckon? What do we reckon?
Well, I know that Jason Cooper will be hoping for a smaller reverse grid as possible, but we know what the wheel's like, and that is exactly why we've got a full reverse grid. It was like I prepared for a full reverse grid to be read out. I swear that it's not weighted. I'm sure. I promise.
No, well, as you say, no, it's something that we don't control. This is all randomized as well, and bear in mind we've only got one full reverse grid tab in here, so. You've got a 1 in, whatever that is, 8 or 9 chance. So realistically, it's a full reverse grid. Like I said, not good for Jason Cooper. Very good, though, for the, for the likes of Fiona Siddons, Craig McDonald, Robert Noble. They're going to be enjoying themselves at the front for the start of the second race. But it's going to be a very, very heavy race of attrition for Jason Cooper, I am sure.
Yeah, but we have seen how strong the slipstream is. You can overtake here at Sebring. So we will be able to watch Jason Cooper's progress through the field. But I think with all of the drivers, I will imagine, have crossed the line by now. It's a long lap, so sometimes it takes a little while for everyone to trickle through. We should be able to run you through the confirmed finishing results for this first race of the evening here at Sebring. You can see the man waving the checkered flag here, but there's no one crossing through, so hopefully we'll be able to get the results up nice and sharp. Again, sometimes it takes a little while, doesn't it, Dan?
Yeah, with the size of this lap as well, it is something that can take a little bit of time, as you say, for everyone to get across. You just heard a car there as well, so there are a couple of people that are still yet to cross the line or yet to jump back to the pits, and there we go. So let's have a very, very quick look here at the finishing results for race 1. Jason Cooper taking the race win with Andy McEwen in P2, Julian Schroer in P3, and Arthur Panzel in P4. James Neve rounds out the top 5 with Michael Seal in P6. Lee Holmes 7th, Nick Clemens in 8th, with Michael Linscombe-Hatsfield in P9, and then Glenn Humberstone in P10. James Clark P11 with Douglas Stewart in P12, Luke Cooper P13, and Luke Grudman in P14. Adam Fox P15, Mark Oliver in 16th, Robert Noble 17th, and Craig McDonald in 18th position. Then we have Fiona Siddons in P19, Simon Robson in 20th, Michael Clough 21st, Pino Kryveld, unfortunately not the race that he would have wanted, in 22nd, Ashley Stimpson in P23, Craig Cockrell in 24th, and then Sam Smith, Liam Simpson, and Colin Sampson, unfortunately not able to finish on the lap.
Craig Cockrell actually does finish one lap down, even though he was missing a wheel at the end of the race. He still gets reverse grid pole position, so a small comfort but a comfort nonetheless for the Gaton Simsport driver, who just before the final lap was unfortunately suffering terminal damage that meant he couldn't complete the race, but still scores points and of course gets the all-important reverse grid pole position for the second race. Meanwhile, Jason Cooper, who's starting all the way from the back. So it's a lot to process and a lot for me and Dan to talk about in the break, which we will go to just now. Get ourselves ready, get fed, and have a few snacks, maybe a little bit of water on us as well before we come to the second race of the evening. Stay tuned though to Absolute Sim Racing. You don't want to miss this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing here for the second race of the evening here at Sebring. Well, we're in for an absolute cracker, that's for sure. Jason Cooper took pole position, took the race victory in the first race, but he's got it all to do starting from the back on account of a full reverse grid. So we'll be able to see what he can muster. Of course, the slipstream is strong around this kit, and you can overtake notable ones, being, of course, into the hairpin midway through the lap, and of course, into Sunset Band and also first corner, both where you could get a sort of slingshot run and maybe send a move down the inside. But then you still join us for this evening, and what do you make of this next race? There's obviously a lot riding on this for Jason Cooper. He wants to try and get as maximum amount of points that he can this evening.
Yeah, I think realistically, as we know with the British Sim races and with this large reverse grid, you just got to take it almost after the first corner and then plan ahead. Realistically, you can think of a million different scenarios, and the one that actually happens is the one that you didn't particularly plan for. So I think you've just got to go with a pretty open mind, if I'm perfectly honest. And then once you're in that position after the first corner, maybe after the first lap or so, then you can actually start looking a little bit further into the latter half of the race.
Yeah, I've just been having a look as well at the conditions out on the circuit. It's 46 degrees at the moment, so it's a hot one. And Drake Cockrell will be looking to have a hot getaway from pole position. Ashley Simpson alongside him at the front, ahead of Pino Crayveld, Michael Clough, Simon Robson, Fiona Siddons, Craig McDowell, Rob Noble, Mark Oliver, and Adam Fox in 10th place ahead of Luke Grumman and Luke Cooper. 13th down, we'll see Douglas Stewart in the 777 ahead of James Clark, Glenn Humberstone, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, Nick Clivins, Lee Holmes, Michael Seal, James Neve, Arthur Pansel, Julian Schroer, Annie McEwen, and Jason Cooper all the way down in 23rd and 24th place, respectively. And then the rest of the field is Sam Smith, Liam Stimpson, Colin Sansom, and Shane Piggott. So we will come now to the front of the field. What can Craig Cockrell muster up at the start of this race with Ashley Simpson around the outside. We know that he's often good at getting the best getaway possible from these reverse grid races, and there's a lot of wheel spin from the front too. Will they be vulnerable perhaps from Michael Clough, who did get a good start, but not enough to really challenge into the first corner. Nice and spread out at the front, and then look at that in the background, a massive pack all battling together with one another. Oh, is there contact up in front? I heard a little bit of damage, and there's a massive incident. Several cars all off, all involved. Oh, I think Lee Holmes has been an incident there on his roof. 222 of Arthur Panzer as well. Big damage there. Who actually got through that nice and safely? How did first and second in race one get on? Obviously, Jason Cooper, you can see there in the number one, still going as well, I think, is Andy McEwen. Yes, they're still up and running, just about 20th place and 21st for the moment, but I think my timing is saying that they're up in 7th and 8th already. So yes, they are actually up in 7th and 8th already, so good start for them. Oh, but a bad start for Douglas Stewart, who finds himself off into the wall. That 777 car with a big incident there on the exit. Was that just on the kink out of, oh, we're going to see here. Oh, he's trying to take evasive action from another incident that happened just ahead of him. Couldn't see who that was involved. I did see it was a Rapid Motorsport car, though, and I think an 88 Tech car, but don't quote me on that. Look at this, though. Craig McDowell doing all he can to hold off Luke Cooper, who's going to pass him around the outside wheel onto the dirt, but he gets it to stick. Very loose, but very quick move that from the number 6, who puts himself into second place. And now, well, the pro driver will set his sights on the AM up the road.
Oh, that was a send.
Andy McEwen go, though. What a send that was, yeah, on Michael Seal. Wheel to wheel through Le Mans, but it's going to work in the favour of McEwen. And then out of the corner they go. It's a little bit of a fight being challenged, actually, by Michael Seal. It will be 2x2 into sunset for the first time in this second race. Michael with the inside line. McEwen around the outside. He's going to have to be brave enough sending it around the outside. He's going to carry a lot of speed. Oh, and there's an incident up in front. All of the drivers doing well to avoid that. And there's a slow Gaton car on the exit that could hamper McEwen here. He's going to get a bit of slipstream. He's going to try and look to the inside line. It's going to be 3 abreast into the first corner at the start of the second lap. And there's a bit of a bump draft going on there as Jason Cooper gives a hurry up to Andy. Tight on the apex. Jason could get all of them here, you know. What a run he's got. He's going to be able to get at least 2, maybe even a third onto the brakes into turn 2. The inside line helps him, and he does take that position. Good overtake that from Jason Cooper, who puts himself up into P2. Again, sorry about all the graphics on the screens, as you can see. Having a bit of a mare. I'm not sure what's going on with all of this, but I can tell you that it is Ashley Simpson up in the lead of the race. You can see his car just up at the front of your shot now, making his way into the hairpin. Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen wheel to wheel. Little bit of a lunge I thought was going to be made from Andy, but no, doesn't seem to be there for the time being. I'll tell you what, though, Jason Cooper, what a drive it has been to get up into the podium places after just, well, 1 lap of racing.
I know, realistically, it's something that's really been, just, like I said, I don't know what's happening. It's all just sort of kicked off. Yeah, again, I'm really not too sure what's happening with the timing tower at the moment. It's really having a bit of a mare today. Just can't seem to sort itself out. Not entirely sure as to why. I mean, Andy McEwen is showing that Craig McDonald's in, P2. And
oh, what a move that was, though, from Andy.
P3.
Down on the inside of Jason Cooper.
He sended it. He gave it a go, didn't he? He sent it, and it paid off. Although Jason Cooper's trying to make a move back straight away, and I think Jason Cooper's actually going to be in front. He's going to have the inside line going through. As long as he can keep it there through this next complex, he's going to have the inside. He'll let the car drift out wide a little bit to cut off the line. There we go. Exactly as I said. He just lets the car off just to cut any possible cutback from Andy McEwen. Manages to get that sorted. So both drivers having a very, very good battle here. Really good stuff from both drivers. And I mean, yeah, realistically, when they cross the line, we're going to be able to see what happens. The only thing I can think of is the incident at the start has sort of corrupted the server a little bit, possibly. It's the only thing I can really think of as to why that everything's showing as is. I don't know what your timing tower is showing. Is showing, Ed, but obviously ours is mine is showing P9 and P8 respectively for Andy McEwen and Jason Cooper.
Yeah, it's very strange. My timing software is showing everything correct, but my overlay, when I look at it through the streaming software, shows what we're seeing. But now I think it's just been able to sort itself out. No, it doesn't. It has a slight hiccup and then comes back to normal again. I think there is a few issues going on in the background that we're not able to fully address at the moment. However, for the moment, everything seems normal now. We've got Ashley Stimpson leading the race ahead of Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen. Ashley Stimpson actually had 1.5 seconds coming into sunset, but I think made a mistake, and that has allowed, obviously, our championship leader to close back now, bring that gap down to under a second, and actually under a tenth of a second. I think there could be a move now into the hairpin for the lead of the race. You can see Jason Cooper just slipping through. Ahead now is wheel to wheel though, and you know that Ashley's going to try and brake as late as he can, force Jason Cooper to go the wrong way around, but there's contact there. Andy McEwen has the dab on the brakes to avoid contact. He's going to get the run on all of them, but I don't know if he's able to capitalize. This could be very, very tasty though into the next corner, this tight right angled right-hander. And you know what? Oh, Jason Cooper blinks out there and drops back, and that was not anything on our end. That was just internet issues for Jason Cooper coming through, but he did do a smart maneuver there, saw that it could have ended in tears, wants to secure a good result, and well, to finish first you must finish, and I think that's well in the mind of Jason Cooper, because he backed out of right backed out of that one, didn't he?
Yeah, you've got to you've got to try and adapt with it. Although, to be fair, I think that small little moment is he's settled from it now and he wants to try and make up some positions. Although Michael Seal and Ashley Stimpson, they're going to be battling. They're holding up. Look at Andy McEwen. He's just pulling away at this point here. Exactly what he wants to do. Oh, that's close between Stimpson and Seal. I would have Jason Cooper's going to think, thank you very much, chaps. That's a good exit. That is a very good exit as well. Seal had to dab on the brakes there. That's going to slow him down. So Jason Cooper's going to get one of them just before the end of the straight. Does he block Michael Seal? And I think he's going to. Yes, he does. Look at that. So at the moment, Michael Seal now can't get out of the slipstream because Jason Cooper is just sitting there. He can't make the move. So, bit of a touch there as well. Michael Seal tried it. And that's going to be Jason Cooper up past Ashley Stimpson. Perfect racecraft there. Just blocked Michael Seal. Again, you're allowed to do it. No reason saying you can't. There's no rule saying you can't. So what a cracking move there from Jason Cooper again. Now, sight firmly set on Andy McEwen up ahead. The gap is half a second. Let's keep an eye out for that gap. Let's see how it develops as well. Ashley Stimpson, though, is going to have a bit of a move, possibly, on... Actually, we saw briefly Ashley Stimpson. I thought there was going to be a move, possibly, on Michael Seal, but nothing as of yet. And then we've got this train here as well, all the way down. That was a moment there. Blimey, that was close. And who was that? I think that was Sam Smith that had a moment there. Possibly even Shane Piggott. Couldn't quite see who that was. Is it Shane Piggott? No, it was Julian Schoer, Arthur Panzel's teammate, that had another moment coming out of turn one. That was pretty scary. But look at this train here as well, currently being led by Liam Stimpson. And then we've got Fiona Siddons, Julian Schoer, Shane Piggott, Sam Smith, James Neve, all the way through. And then a little bit further back is Adam Fox. But again, this could change very, very drastically and very quickly, couldn't it, to be fair? Jason Cooper just got inside. Yep.
Look who's up in the lead of the race. There's all action kicking off. We can't look away for anything for a second because there's stuff going on. Look at this, Shane Piggott having a mistake into the hairpin, dropping back a couple of places and could drop back more as he's slow when he rejoins, and yet another couple of places passing by there, which just shows when the fields are this close, one mistake can really, really impact you drastically. Because look, all of a sudden Simon Robson's going to go for a move down the inside of Piggott. Actually, no, I think that was Linscombe Hatfield actually going for a move on the inside of Piggott and getting it to stick throughout all of this as well. Jason Cooper did get ahead of Andy McEwen, a change for the lead of the race, but Andy's sticking there with him. Gap less than 0.2 of a second, maybe even less than 1/10 of a second, but there's a mistake there. Is that Simon Robson off the track?
There's a contact, definitely contact there. Yeah, you could just see it. Let's have another quick look at that, and then we'll see the overtake from Jason Cooper. What is it going to be? Oh, just a little bit too late there, I think, from Michael Linscombe Hatfield. So a bit of a shame there. Big shame. What's happened to James Neve? Because James Neve's actually, I think, lost out a couple of positions. Oh, look at this train here. We need to have a look quickly in a few moments at the overtake from the overtake from Jason Cooper on Andy McEwen. So I've got that primed and ready to go, but I want to see what happens here between James Neve, and that is going to be Fiona Siddons. Oh, it's going to be close. Very, very tight line there for Fiona Siddons. Just about placed the car perfectly, but James Neve got a good run. Fiona Siddons needs to come across and cut that inside off, but I don't think it wasn't quite early enough. Andy McEwen, though, and Jason Cooper having a good old battle. Andy McEwen's now got past Jason Cooper again. And I think, actually, again, there's just too many battles going on. Fiona Siddons now going around the outside of James Neve. What a move there. Retakes the position. Good move from Fiona Siddons there.
Yeah, that was a cracking move, that from Fiona. And I don't know which way this race is going to go. You know, this is proper cracking stuff. We can see this fight between Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen. I think was this the move that happened earlier on, the first pass that we saw, where Jason managed to get ahead of Andy McEwen. It was a mistake from Andy, just a little bit too much into the corner, slow on the exit. And then there's another replay here of how Andy McEwen got the move back on Jason Cooper, but Jason fighting it around the outside. Going to go wheel to wheel through the right-hand kink and then around the outside. Is he going to get the move on? Yes, he does. Jason Cooper, very quick, squeezing Andy McEwen. Lucky there wasn't contact there.
Oh, my God.
This is cracking stuff. And oh, my word. Yeah, I think that's the best way to phrase this. Oh, my God, what is going on there? Fiona Siddons, Sam Smith, Liam Simpson, Julian Schroer, Adam Fox, James Neve, and Nick Libbins, all together, all fighting for 6th place.
I know. I mean, look at that. It can't really be any closer than that. It's just one big, long MX5. And I tell you what, at the moment, James... Yeah, James Eva's going to have a very good move. That's actually... yep, says you're right. Sorry, Ed. My apologies. Yep, Fiona Siddons going to possibly lose out on a position. Manages to keep the foot in. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be Liam Stimson's going to have a look up the inside as well. And I think very well. So, Fiona Siddons goes to size, no, you're not having that as easy as I would like it. And tries to, again, hold it on the outside. Couldn't quite do it, though. That was Julian Schroer having a bit of a moment as well. Fiona Siddons doing absolutely fantastically here. Really, really good performance. And again, great defending as well. Just putting the car exactly where she needs to position it. And that's really paying dividends because she's not losing any pace as well, realistically. Maybe losing a little bit here and there, but it's not as drastic as it could be, which is really, really helping her maintain that momentum.
Yeah, this is going to be good for her and the AM Championship, of course. If she can bag some good points, a good top 10 finish, that would be brilliant for her and her aspirations this season as we come into, obviously, the tail end, this being round 9 of the championship. The end is in sight for some of the drivers, and they're going to start to think about where they'll finish out the season and maybe start to either take a few more risks if they're not where they want to be, or maybe be a bit more conservative if they're above targets or right where they need to be or right where they were hoping for at the end. But look at this, Nick Libbins, he's going for it, even though he's locked in a titanic Pro-Am fight between himself and Andy McEwen at the latter stages of this season. He's really going for it, really trying to find a way through.
No, Fiona Siddons.
Oh, Fiona Siddons has a mistake. Yeah, just caught the tail end of that. Oh my dear, we're going to see exactly how that all happened. Oh, the car just bottoms out, isn't it? The suspension coming off the curbs sends her all the way around, unfortunately, into the wall. It was a great race from her, but I think Kirsty, the commentator, struck a little bit too hard after we were just praising how well she was doing up in 5th place.
I know, yeah, very good. I just had a quick look at the chat as well. Hello to everyone in the chat and also to Jacko Racing. It says hi. So hello, Jack. Thank you very much for tuning in. Also, hi, Rachel, and Fred as well. Good to have everyone in the chat as well, having a watch and enjoying some good racing, which we have got a lot of it, to be fair. Jason Cooper still leading the way with 1 minute remaining. I wonder if this is going to be the last lap. I don't think it is. They may just sneak in one more, which is going to be great for Andy McEwen because it's going to give him another opportunity to make a move. And as I tell you what, let's actually move to that battle now. Yes, they're going to go through. Do you know what? I think it's going to be close. They might not have a chance. They've got 40 seconds. I mean, realistically, they should be able to get through, but it's going to be close. I think... Do you know what? I think they might do it. Yeah, they're probably going to... I would assume they have enough time. Like I said, great for Andy McEwen. Great for Michael Seal as well. So, Andy, look at that. Andy McEwen's having to go defensive because Michael Seal's got a very, very good drive out of the last corner. The closer they're getting, though, the less I'm actually sure that they're going to make it, to be fair. Ed.
Yeah, I don't know which way this is going to
Oh, they
go.
will.
It will be
They will.
very close, but they will just about get it across the line in time. It isn't the most comfortable of margins, though, as we're going to see white flag being waved now. Jason Cooper and Andy McEwen. What will they do in these final few moments? Andy's got a bit of pressure as well from Michael Seal in the background. Michael, who's done a great job to get himself up into third position. Now, what will they do? Will they try and work together, try and close into Jason Cooper, or are we going to see Michael Seal start to squabble a bit with a fellow Pro-Am driver? We'll find out, won't we, as we come through. And that's a good run, actually, out of that left-hander and onto this sort of mini sort of bend, I guess, coming into the hairpin. So crucial as well to get this sector of the lap hooked up nicely to be there in with a shout for the fast flowing flat out final section, that final straight to be in with a chance into sunset. I think that's where we're going to see the moves being made. What can Andy McEwen do? Is he going to feel the pressure a bit too much, because Jason Cooper's starting to build the gap?
Jason Cooper's starting to build a gap. Like I said, they're right on McEwen's tail. So, just a fraction wide going through turn 10. That will cost him ever so slightly. And Andy McEwen, we see Jason Cooper pulls another couple of tenths on them, on both of those drivers here. I think the person that I'd want to be in this position, to be perfectly honest, is Michael Seal, because he's got the control of the remainder of this race between himself and Andy McEwen. He can push Andy McEwen as hard as he wants to, realistically. Let's just take that into consideration. But McEwen putting his car exactly where it needs to be. Just needs to maintain this for the remainder of this lap. And then that will be it. Slightly tighter line from Michael Seal. That would have cost him. He'll gain some time on the entry, but it will cost him on the exit. As we can just see there. And again, how do they both get through? Very quick for Andy McEwen. I think a little bit quicker, though, for Michael Seal. So as long as he can get the run, he might have a bit of a chance going through. Andy McEwen's going to have to go defensive. It'll be at the last moment. You see Michael Seal pull out. Is Andy McEwen going to cut him off at the last second? He's going to have to, because he's going to allow one position. No, he doesn't. Decides against it. Tries to take the normal racing line. Michael Seal goes wide. Oh, it's going to be close.
It could be a drag race up to the line, but Jason Cooper, he will go unchallenged to take his second race victory of the night. Andy McEwen takes his second place of the night, and also his second Pro-Am class victory of the evening as well. Michael Seal, great stuff from him to get an overall podium finish, repping that orange army livery. Doing a very good job indeed. Ashley Stimpson there, you can see, taking a AM class victory rather, in fourth. Great drive from himself, ahead of the likes of Sam Smith, Liam Stimpson. Fiona Siddons comes through into 12th place. Good result from her, considering we saw, well, that incident at the midway phase of the race. For her to finish up in 12th place was a very good effort from her, and also gets an AM class podium result as well. Just seeing a few more drivers still out on the circuit. James Clark ahead of the likes, well, of, I think that's Colin Sanson, Glenn Humberstone, Luke Cooper, all in the background. However, I think this is the final of the drivers actually on the lead lap. James Clark, if my timing screen is telling me correct. See Glenn Humberstone back there and Luke Cooper, Colin Sanson, all laps down. So able to see if they're eligible for reverse grid pole positions. Look at this. James Clark comes across the line, finishes 16th place. So from him to carry on, even if maybe his start wasn't quite the way he'd planned, finishing the races, of course, helps you out to no end in your championship fight. But with, I think, all of the drivers having crossed the line, we can now go to the reverse grid spinning wheel, Dan, and find out who will be starting next race on pole position. I think we should be able to bring that up now.
And there we go, as if by magic. Look at that. So, what is it going to be? Is it going to be another full reverse grid? Is it not going to be another full reverse grid? Only a few moments, then we'll find out. It's going to be a top 14, a relatively small reverse grid compared to what we're used to, Ed.
Yeah, not as massive, which I guess is, again, a comfort to race victor Jason Cooper. 2 wins already this evening from 2 races. And you know that we're going to start to build the conversation up about if he can take the Grand Slam. It will certainly be a great result for him if he can, because he came just ever so close last time out at Charlotte. Was taking race victories in race 1, 2, and 3, but the fourth one, well, less said about that, the better if you are Jason Cooper, I think. Having a look though as well, we've got a driver lining up for a post-race interview, and it is, well, the pilot that we said was doing so well up into 5th place for a good portion of that race. Unfortunately, she had that mistake or error at the, well, that very nasty left-hander at the start of the lap. But she joins us in the commentary box, and you've got to be happy with that, Fiona. 3rd place in the AM class, 12th overall. That was a great race.
I am very happy with that. That has to be my best performance since I joined the BSR.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate about that little error. Was it just the car bottoming out on you with the suspension?
I just clipped a little bit, took a bit too much and clipped the grass, and it just spun the back end out.
Yeah, it was a very tricky race from you, but you've still done a great job up there defending as well from the likes of, well, Stimpson, Smith, all those drivers up there in that fight for 5th. You must have been buzzing when you were up there.
I don't know about buzzing, I was sweating. Sweat was pouring off me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a cracking race from our perspective in the box, just seeing it all unfold. We didn't know which way to look because there was so much going on, but obviously with the reverse grid being a 14, that puts you right at the front of the 2nd row. So what are your hopes going into the 3rd race?
More of the same. I hope we can get more of the same as what we just had. I'll prove to myself I can do it now.
Yeah, confidence levels must be high, and we'll be looking forward to seeing what you can do.
Definitely.
Thank you, Fiona, for joining us. Before we say goodbye to you and let you get ready for the 3rd race, is there anyone you want to shout out here on Absolute Sim Racing?
Yeah, you guys for the great streams, and to Michael Seal for hosting it tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you as well, Fiona, though. We'll have to say goodbye to you, unfortunately. Hopefully, we'll be able to see more of you out on the circuit, though, in these next 2 races.
Yeah, definitely. See you later, mate.
So, Fiona exits the commentary box, and we are about to go to a short break, Dan. When we come back, though, we'll have more and more action. Actually, no, we won't go back just yet, because we forgot to run through the finishing order, haven't we? We've got a bit carried away with ourselves here, Dan.
We have indeed, yes. Let us run through the finishing order here for the 2nd race. So, Jason Cooper taking 2 out of 2 for the moat with Andy McEwen taking 2 out of 2 in P2. Michael Seal P3 with Ashley Stimpson in P4, and Sam Smith rounding out the top 5. That is Liam Stimpson P6, Julian Schroer in 7th with James Neven P8, Nick Clemens 9th, Adam Fox in 10th, Shane Piggott in 11th, and Fiona Siddons in P12. Michael Linscombe Hatfield in 13th, Simon Robson P14 with James Clark in P15, Craig Cockrell 16th, Colin Sampson in 17th, and then in 18th place is Glenn Humberstone. Looking a little bit further down, we do have Luke Cooper P19, Craig McDonald in 20th, Luke Grumman 21st, Robert Noble P22, Michael Clough P23, and then we have Lee Holmes, Mark Oliver, Douglas Stewart, Arthur Panzel, and that is unfortunately Ride the Rail, not the race that he would have wanted. That is Pino Kryeveld. So a few drivers unable to finish, and the last of the actual finishing cars on the lap that will score points is Luke Cooper. Unfortunately, everyone else from there wasn't able to score any points for that particular round.
Yes, unfortunate there for the likes of Craig McDonald, Luke Grumman, Robert Noble, Michael Clough, Lee Holmes. A big rate of attrition, isn't there, with Mark Oliver, Douglas Stewart, Arthur Panzel, and Pino Kryeveld. All unfortunately not making it until the end, but of course what is one driver's misfortune is another one's glory. Of course, Simon Robson starting the next race from pole position with Linscombe Hatfield alongside him. This is a race you do not want to miss. Keep your eyes as well towards the back of the field, because Jason Cooper will be gunning for a historic Grand Slam. Stay tuned to ASR, because we're going to go for a short break and be right back with the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing. We've had 2 races. There's still 2 more to come here at Sebring. Jason Cooper, as he often tends to do, takes the first race victory of the evening, and a full reverse couldn't stop him to taking the second race. We've got a 14 reverse grid, so you would imagine the task would be a little bit easier for Jason Cooper. However, nothing is certain in the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. Plenty of surprises are still likely to happen over the course of the evening's racing, Dan.
This is absolutely true indeed, yes, because being in the mid-pack can provide a certain different challenges than just being at the back. Being at the back, you've got more time to react. We saw as well, actually, you know, the main cause of the last race as well, the accident that happened, it was roughly in sort of like the midfield. So realistically, you've got to be a little bit more cautious if you're there, because while yes, you are closer to the front of the field, you've got less time to react for anything happening ahead of you. If you're at the back of the field, nice and easy, you've got all the time in the world, as we saw with Jason Cooper there. So realistically, you know, I almost think this may be harder in certain circumstances.
Yes, and I'm having a look at some of the facts that I've got, some of the information I've got rolling up into this. Actually, no, we don't have time for this, because racing is about to get out, so you're going to have to wait a little while for all my facts and insights, because we're getting started. Simon Robson there, pole position for himself, ahead of Michael Linscombe Hatfield. Fiona Siddons, 3rd position for her, ahead of Shane Piggott, Adam Fox, Nick Clibbins, James Neve, Julian Schreier, Liam Stimpson, and Sam Smith, who rounds out your top 10. The 3rd race of the evening, Ashley Stimpson there in 11th place, ahead of Michael Seal in 12th. Then we will come down to 13th and 14th place. Annie McEwen and Jason Cooper yet again together on the circuit. James Clark 15th, ahead of Craig Cockrell, Colin Sanson, Glenn Humberstone, Luke Cooper, Luke Grunman, Robert Noble, Michael Clough, Lee Holmes, and Mark Oliver. And then a few more drivers to name and run through. Douglas Stewart 25th, Arthur Pansel 26th, and Pino Krajeveld 27th. So, 3rd race is about to get underway. Dan, who's going to get the best start between Simon Robson and Linscombe Hatfield off of the line? The pair of them very, very quick, you tend to find off the line, but who's going to get the best run? Not the longest run into the first corner. The lights go out and we go racing, and actually it's Linscombe Hatfield that gets the favourable run on the outside, which might actually be a slightly more rubbered in part of the circuit, because it gets you onto the racing line into the first corner. But look at this, Simon Robson, hard defence to the inside, a kiss of the wall actually there from Adam Fox onto the apex, but they all get through the first corner just about cleanly. I think for the first time this evening we haven't seen an incident in the first corner, but what about the second corner? Jury's out there late on the race for all, because I thought for a moment we were going to see a moment between Liam Stimpson, but I think he gets through that nice and safe. Look at this, Andy McEwen trying to find a way through, is held up on the exit as Sam Smith as well, rejoining the circuit, nearly has a collision, but they're still all going. Cracking stuff from the field so far this race. Andy McEwen up into 10th. Jason Cooper down in 13th place, but Andy McEwen going defensive to fend off Michael Seal. Oh, and there's a moment there for Adam
Michael
Fox.
Clough,
what has happened there? Is that a bit of damage? The car was looking a little bit squirrely. I'm not sure if that was just car on the grass or if there was a little bit more to tell of with Adam Fox's issues there.
Possibly, yeah. We're going to have to see if we can get a replay of that at the moment. Jason Cooper, though, has been held up a little bit. He's in P13. Andy McEwen, though, is all the way up in P9. So there's a few cars separating them at this moment in time. But again, it's a long way to go. Fiona Siddons is currently in P3 with Michael Linscombe Hatfield P2 and Sam Robson in P currently leading. So 3 Pro-Am drivers, 3 AM drivers are currently leading the way. Fantastic stuff indeed. Admittedly, we only just started, although doesn't necessarily mean to say that that's not going to stay the same. But at the moment, though, Andy McEwen is really trying to get past. Sooner rather than later, James Neve. Oh, Jason Cooper. Wow, how late do you want to be on the brakes? I tell you what, not late enough, apparently, because he couldn't quite make any more positions than what he wanted. He's going to be alongside Sam Smith, who goes a little bit wide. That's allowed Ashley Stimpson to go through as well. But Jason Cooper, great capitalisation on the moves
there. Going to go for it as well, I think. Luke Cooper looking for a move, actually, on That was Smith actually into the sunset for the first time this race. Sunset as the sun begins to set as well. Wonderful to see the cars going through there nice and close together. Look at this though, Liam Simpson wheel to wheel with Fiona Siddons. This is for third place overall and third place in the AM class. Liam just with his nose in front, but Fiona with the favourable inside line is able to keep herself up into the podium places. Does she overshoot it? Does she get onto the grass a little bit? And that has allowed Liam Simpson to carve his way back through into third. Shane Piggott fancies a move down the inside and goes for it, gets the move to stick as well. Cracking opportunistic stuff that from Shane Piggott. Look at this side by side in front, and there's contact. Liam Simpson, Fiona Siddons come together. Andy McEwen as well comes to the scene of the accident. All of the cars thrown together. Jason Cooper with damage. You can see him there just on the left-hand side of the circuit. Big hit to the front of his car. That could mean we will see a new race victor in this third race, but which is it going to be? Going to have a slow motion replay exactly of what happened, and it was all just the domino effect from the incident further up that meant drivers couldn't escape it. They're boxed in on the inside. They try and take evasive action, but arrive at the scene of the accident, and it was a big hit there from Jason Cooper onto the rear of that year one racing car of Andy McEwen. So big dramas at this early phase of the race. We're only 4 minutes in, and already there's been a big shake-up of the status quo. Nick Clibbins, you can see him in the 13th car. He'll be looking hungry for a race victory. AM drivers ahead, himself being a Pro-Am, and a big chance for him to claw something back ahead of his main AM Championship rival of Andy McEwen. He's going to go for it, and it's going to get covered off here as Linscombe Hatfield and Liam Simpson have a battle there on their own. This is really close. There's contact there. Clibbins has a moment, I think. Does he get his car back onto the circuit safely? Oh, there's a scary moment as he gets close to Julian Schroer. And here's a replay of Sam Smith with big damage there. The wheel digs into the grass as well. Oh my word, it's all kicking off here, Dan.
It is indeed. It is all kicking off. Absolutely. It's going to be side by side between Simpson and Lincoln Mansfield. Who is going to come out on top as they go through sunset? This time around, it's going to be... Oh, that's a moment for Linscombe Hatfield, but manages to maintain it, though. Good positioning there. Good car control as well from the Matthew Logistics White driver, the number 718. Can he maintain it? He can't do that too much because that will bite him at one stage. Julian Schroer, though, does capitalise on the fact that he went a little bit wide and makes up a move as we're looking a little bit further. You can just see, again, a lot of positions happening, a lot of positions changing a little bit further down the order as well. Nick Clibbins, this is a gaggle of cars here. You've got Michael Seal, Glenn Humberstone, Clibbins and Fox all dicing between the two. Fox goes up the inside of Nick Clibbins. That is a move done and dusted. Thank you very much. Nick Clibbins is going to try and come around the outside, but I don't think that's going to work somehow because Adam Fox covers off the inside, and as we can see that, slight bit of rally crossing there from Nick Clemens, manages to keep it going. Interesting line, interesting tactic there. May as well experiment with different lines if you want, but that might be a little bit too drastic, and that's actually going to now open the door for James Clark. That's going to come up the inside, possibly thinks better of it and darts back in. A little bit further down though is this Pino Criveld and Arthur Panzelwood is indeed going to go side by side down into turn 8. Who is it going to be coming out on top? And it's Pino Criveld. Good move there, maintaining the gap from himself to Arthur Panzel. So good defensive driving, as we can see. Jason Cooper, though, dropping further and further down the field. Definitely not what we want to see. That's going to be his positioning. What he is maintaining, he's got a significant amount of damage. Michael Clough just about manages to slip round the outside. Possibly is a bit of contact. Oh, Michael Clough is so close for going wide. Then I thought that was going to be it. But manages to keep it on the tarmac. Good stuff indeed. Good car control there from Michael Clough with that little bit of damage and a little bit of contact there from Craig Cochran.
Yeah, and up in front, Ashley Simpson has just gotten ahead of Julian Schroer, but they're battling wheel to wheel. Actually, you can see the position changing left and right on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see it now. Ashley's just been trying to find a way back, trying to fight Julian, but there's no way for him to succeed in that attempt. So Julian is up now into third place. He's going to try and close down to Liam Simpson and Simon Robson up the road. A second difference, and look at this. Lee Holmes lining up for a move potentially into Sunset. A big gap being given by Linscombe Hatfield because, of course, they want to get that later apex, but actually Lee Holmes is going to take full advantage of that and slot himself up into 5th position. Look at this again. Stimson and Schroer side by side, wheel to wheel across the start finish line and into the first corner. The inside line going the way of the 444, but will the 888 be able to hang it around the outside? I don't know if he can. He's going to try and maximize his exit speed into the next corner, but it doesn't work out for him. So once more, Julian Schroer keeps just about a tight enough grip onto 3rd place. All of this fighting gives more and more breathing space, more and more time for Liam Stimpson and Simon Robson to try and clear a margin, but not enough time because a mistake there from Stimpson allows Schroer to close the gap down. And from my money and from the pace that's being shown at the moment, Julian Schroer could be looking good to take a race victory. And if my memory serves right, I think this could be Julian's first race victory of the season.
We'll have to keep an eye on it as the race progresses. I just saw here that Craig Cockrell did get past Michael Clough going through, I believe that's into turn 5 or 6. So we'll see if we can grab a quick replay of that and let us have a brief look here. I think it's going to be, diving up the inside from Craig Cockrell. Actually, no, sorry, keeping it round the outside. So it was just maintaining position. Apologies. That's what we were talking about there. Julian Schroer, though, always sent it up into P2. Has he sent it up into P2 for Liam Simpson? Yes, he has, but Simpson's not letting him have it too easy. He goes nice and deep into that very, very tight right-hander down the latter half of the lap. But it has now opened the door a little bit to Julian Schroer. Going to try and go the long way round. He's going to be doing that because he wants to gain the track position going through into the right-hander. Exactly what you want to do. If he can hold it there, he's going to be able to do it because it's very, very difficult for Liam Stimpson. No, manages to do it though. Manages to hold it around the outside and keep that momentum going. It's key. That's exactly what you want. Liam Stimpson, though, is the person that's not able to really capitalise on it much because he's actually going to be the person that's losing out. He's got a very slow exit going through onto the back straight, and that's going to cost him 1, possibly even 2 positions. It might have cost him any more. Big contact as well from the back. We just saw that. Possibly Robert Noble that had a small moment, or say a small minute, possibly a big moment there. Or what is going to happen here? I think, you know what, that's Julian Schroer pushing Simon Robson along.
Yeah, pushing him all the way through, trying to carry the momentum into Sunset. Is Schroer going to get up? He is. Schroer up into 2nd place. Look at this, though, on the exit, battling together, and you can see the 88 Tech car trying to find a way through, and they will be making it 3 wide. Schroer, Lee Holmes and Simon Robson all together, and Schroer around the outside sweeps on through.
Wow.
This is a cracking fight for the lead. You can see, look at all of these cars together, each one in with a shout of race victory. Stimpson, Schroer, Holmes, Stimpson, Robson, Seal, Linscombe, Hatfield, all up there. Adam Fox as well. And as Stimpson had a moment, I think he has his drop back massively from this fight. Has there been a bit of contact, perhaps?
Yeah, he had a bit of contact as we're going through turn 2 and then just into turn 3, possibly touched the grass, I think, there. And it just caused the car, the brakes didn't grab at all. And it just had the car sending on. So not ideal for Ashley Stimpson. So literally as soon as you said it, Stimpson had that bit of moment. So definitely not what we want to see. Pans will go through. That was contact. I heard that from a second. I heard that from a mile off. Who was that? There's a car off. Hey, haha. Good. Very well defended there. Very well avoided there by Bruno Grijeveld. I think that was Lee Holmes, actually. So this battle has now actually become significantly, less cars in the space of about 4 corners. Arthur Panda, though, is really trying to make a move, isn't he? Because he wants to get past Bruno Grijeveld as quickly as he can. There's a car in the way, so he can't go much.
I heard there was a bit of contact. I didn't know who was involved. Unfortunately, the 4040 racing car of Michael Seal was involved in all of this. And this is a little bit earlier on into the hairpin. This is why Lee Holmes was obviously on the exit. And it was the number 17 of Simon Robson. Unfortunately, it was a bit too optimistic on the brakes. Jason Cooper, we've got a replay of him. He's very slow into the corner. Bit of damage on the front. And there's a bit of a send, a late lunge from the 023 of Mark Oliver, unfortunately, there in that little bit of a fracas, I think is the polite way of saying this. Michael Seal, though. My words. What on earth happened there? The 2 cars then sort of stick together. Very strange, and actually, I'm not sure what's happened throughout all of that. Michael Seal, though, with damage, I think is very slow as a result. Could be suspension troubles for him. Look at this, though. Battle for the front. Liam Stimpson, Julian Schroer together as they come across the line. They've been able to have a bit of track space afforded to them as a result of all of the battling, all the carnage that's going on behind. Oh, and the carnage set to continue now as Luke Cooper is up in the mix between Adam Fox, Linscombe Hatfield, and James Clark. He's got a great run out of the corner, actually gets the advantage on Linscombe Hatfield into turn 2 and then into third corner there. This left-hander, right-hander, and then another long left-hander that's so crucial to get right. A nice late apex taken by Luke Cooper. We'll see him close up to Adam Fox, maybe not be able to send a move, but this is a cracking fight for third place shaping up now. Battling as well, though, for 13th here, Craig Cockrell and Robert Noble.
Yep, Craig Cockrell, Robert Noble having a good bit of tussle as well. Exactly what we like to see. I wonder if there's going to be a move for Cockrell going through into turn 8, down to the bottom hairpin. As long as he can get maybe a last-minute move, possibly even go to the outside and try and get a cut back as well. Got to be careful of Shane Piggott there. But I wonder if he's going to give it a go. Just about manages to dive round the... Oh, that was close. That was close. Great racing from both drivers there. Great racing from both parties. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But at the moment, Craig Cockrell still can't quite get past Robert Noble at this stage of the race. Although Arthur Panzer and Pino Kriveld are both still having a bit of a battle. And it's actually going on a little bit further than that as well, because that was a send and a half from Pino Kriveld. Sorry, that was Lee Holmes, I believe. But that was...
Yeah, this is... Sorry, Karen.
I was about to say, I think it was actually Lee Holmes. I was getting my cars confused there, and it was indeed Lee Holmes that was trying to have a bit of a look up the inside of Arthur Panzer. Couldn't quite make a stick, though. Panzer was just putting his car exactly where it needed to be. So again, great defending from everyone here. Really, really good stuff that we're seeing. Going back now to Robert Noble and Craig Cockrell, because I think finally it's going to be the Gatton Simsport. The number 9 tries to go on the outside. Can't quite do it, though. Oh, Robert Noble, again, perfect car placement, exactly where it needed to be to cut off the Gatton Simsport car. This is just racing and action all up and down the field. This is great stuff.
Look at that, and then look at this. Arthur Panzel trying to go around the outside, but, well, look at it. Pino Kriveld took a lot of speed into Sunset and has actually parked his car perfectly on the exit to slow down Panzel and allow his teammate through. And onto the white flag lap we come. Nothing is separating all of these drivers across the line. Nothing separating Tim Stimpson and Julian Schroer, apart from about 0.2 of a second for the lead. Both of these drivers up at the front of the field are yet to take a race victory this season. And just to add a little bit more into the mix, Adam Fox yet to take a race victory as well. So if those two, for whatever reason, don't finish on the top step, Adam Fox will be there to pick up the pieces. So this is going to be a cracking finish no matter which way it ends. Look at Arthur Panzer trying to muscle his way through, fight through ahead of Pino Kriveld. But look at these two wheel to wheel into the tight hairpin. You can see how much that Pino Kriveld wants the inside line, then squeezes Arthur Panzel on the run into the corner. Arthur carries the speed around the outside, but has to concede the position through the left-hand kink onto the exit. So what can Arthur do as a means of fighting back, and what can his teammate do up at the front of the race, because Julian Schroer is lining up to try and pass Liam Stimpson.
Indeed, again, it's just battles up and down the field, exactly what we like to see. And again, I think realistically, I mean, I don't know where it's gonna end up. It's gonna be close. Julian Schroer, he is close enough. He's close enough. He's only 4/10 away, less than that now, 3.5. Oh, I don't want to put anything on it. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, that is the timer gone. 15 minutes is now up. I don't really want to say anything yet. But, Liam Simpson goes a fraction wide. That's cost him a bit of time through there. And look at that. The gap is now less than 0.2 of a second. Julian Schroer is going to have to send it, isn't he? It's going to be last corner. Stimpson goes all the way to the inside straight away. But look at Adam Fox, though. He's only 2.5 behind. So I wonder if Adam Fox is going to try and have a look as well. Could Adam Fox manage to make his way up into a race win? It's going to be close. Julian Schroer around the outside. Oh, my goodness. How is this going to end up, Ed? I don't actually know. I can't call it.
No, this is going to be ever so close. Adam Fox there actually gets a great run in. He might be able to take all of them. Adam Fox through the final corner. It's going to be a drag race up to the line. Julian Schroer, I think, is just going to pip all of them to the post. What a finish that was. Julian Schroer takes his first race victory of the season. Adam Fox, brilliant stuff there at the end to take second. And Liam Stimpson just slightly overcooked it, but still a great podium from himself there. That was an amazing finish. All of the drivers can be very proud from the race they provided us here. Absolutely amazing. This is the reason why we love the BSR Tegiwa Trophy, because you never know what is going to happen right up until the final seconds of the final lap before you can call a race fully over as well. It was close between Lee Holmes and I believe that was Luke Cooper for 6th position. I wonder if we can get maybe a photo finish of that, because that was, you can see the margins there on the left-hand side of the screen, 1/100th of a second.
It couldn't have been any closer, could it, realistically? That just couldn't have been any closer. That was just absolute madness. Absolute madness. I mean, let's see if we can get a... Let's see if we can get a bit of a replay. So, as they're going into the last corner, let's just play that a little bit faster and then let's slow it down. I mean, realistically, Julian Schroer manages, goes exactly what he needs to do. Wide line, cuts back in, but then he's got Adam Fox in the way. So realistically, his line has been compromised by this point. And then, I mean, when we're looking at, look at the blimp cam. It's actually very, very difficult to try and find a camera. This is actually probably the best camera that you can see. I mean, just about manages to maintain that momentum. I mean, it just couldn't have been any closer, could it? I mean, it could have been, but what are the chances of that?
Yeah, and then, of course, further back, Luke Cooper and Lee Holmes, there was a close fight there, and I want to see then if we can have a look at that as well. Maybe a little bit, we can have a look at that just now. So this is the battle of Liam Stimpson. We're able to see further back now Luke Cooper and, of course, the 35 of Lee Holmes.
While we're waiting for the cars to come round, let's just quickly spin the wheel for the final race of which we're going to be. So, I wonder what it's going to be. Is it going to be...
full, just the full. And we'll quickly get that off because I think we can see now just what it was between the pair of them. So, wow, full reverse grid. We don't have time to fully digest that because we're having a look at what happened there. You can see Luke Cooper. A little bit of a bump on the inside line. You can see the car's going to have a compromised run. It's all about the 35. What can he do to carry the momentum nose to tail on the exit? And it is essentially a drag race up to the line. The advantage is in the favour of Lee Holmes, but it's not just enough. Look at how close it is up until the line. Oh my word, Luke just pips it. There's contact as they come across. That's so close, isn't it?
Do you know what? It's close. I just want to have another quick look at. That because I don't know. I don't really know how to think about that. I'm just again. I'm not a steward by any stretch of the imagination. But I just want to have a quick look from on board from Luke Cooper. I don't think it would have made a difference realistically. However, just taking note of as we come through here, just coming across the line, this move over to the right. No, I don't know if anything, because that sort of contact could be argued as being deliberate. It was a little bit naughty drifting over to the right to sort of almost deliberately make contact in a way. I don't think it was. It's just something that it would just be a small little thing just to be cautious of if... again, I'm sure there was nothing intention by it, but it's just one of those things that a couple of camera angles can portray different stories. The actual roll bar camera shows a different story to what we saw from the outside TV cam. It's just just wanted to have a quick look at that.
Yeah, so close racing, close fighting that sees Julian Schroer take his first race victory of the season, a new race victory as well. Wonderful stuff. Just shows the quality of drivers we have here in the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. Adam Fox there taking, I think, it's only his second podium finish of this series, ahead of Liam Stimpson, James Clark, Linscombe Hatfield, Luke Cooper there down in 6th place, just pipping out ahead of Lee Holmes, with Arthur Pansel in Pino Crivel 8th and 9th. Michael Clough there in 10th place ahead of Glenn Humberstone. Craig Cockrell 12th, Shane Piggott 13th, Robert Noble 14th ahead of Simon Robson, Mark Oliver, Andy McEwen there 17th place for him ahead of Colin Sansom, and in 18th place they'll be starting higher up, of course, with the full reverse grid. 19th place will then go down to, if we can roll it through and find out, Nick Clibbins there, who will be starting higher up the order as well, ahead of Ashley Stimpson 20th, Douglas Stewart 21st, Luke Grundman, reverse grid, pole position. So for all intents and purposes, a 22 reverse grid, as Michael Seal scores no points, not eligible for the reverse grid, as well as, bitterly disappointing there for Jason Cooper, all the way down in 24th, Sam Smith 25th, James Need 26th, Fiona Siddons. Well, she was saying that she was hoping that she'd be able to carry good confidence into final two races. Unfortunately, she won't be able to start higher up the order, and also finishes third race with no points adding to her tally. However, we will be able to go to a short break and come back with all of the action and build up to the fourth race of the evening. Stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing. The fourth and final race is about to get underway here at Sebring for the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. We've been treated to yet another full reverse grid. And I've actually been having a look, following some of the updated live point scores. This is, of course, before all of the penalties and such have been applied. However, Andy McEwen has now found himself second in the championship, which would be great for him if he can bring this across the line. And he's a favourite to get a race victory this evening because obviously he's starting that little bit higher up the order thanks to this big reverse grid. In fact, I was actually having a chat to Andy at the weekend, just down at Snetterton for the British GT, and he was actually telling me about his sort of regime that he has for practicing for these races. So as soon as he's done racing, the very next day on Wednesday, he does nothing. Thursday, nothing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing. He only hops on a Monday, 6 o'clock, just before the start of the Monday fun races, and then basically puts in a few laps, and that is him all sorted, right and ready for Tuesdays. And it seems to be working out for him, because we were to run you through the grid now, and we're able to see that he's going to be starting higher up and a good favourite for this next race victory. The cars are lining up, and we'll have to run through them fairly quickly. Luke Grunman, pole position, ahead of Douglas Stewart. Ashley Simpson, Nick Clemens, second row, ahead of Colin Sansom and the aforementioned Andy McEwen. Simon Robson, Rob Noble, Shane Piggott, Craig Cockrell round out your top 10. Let's run through these very quickly. We'll just flash them across your screen now. Go to the next page. You can see there Jason Cooper all the way down in 23rd place, unfortunately, and then the final few drivers there. Now we're going to go back to the front of the field. Luke Grunman from pole position. Douglas Stewart alongside him into the first corner, who's going to come out on top, alone under the floodlit Sebring circuit. You can see the cars get underway now, and it is actually a very good start this from Douglas Stewart. He's going to have his nose just ahead, but around the outside into the first corner. Ashley Stimpson as well. Good start from him. He's going to challenge down the inside of all of them into the first corner, and there's contact between the pair of them. Do they all get through just about cleanly? Oh my word, I think there's a big moment there. Several drivers taken out of the race. How on earth did Andy McEwen get through that cleanly? Because he was right up there. Over the dodge left, right, and centre. Glenn Humberstone as well. Good job from him getting through all of the, well, carnage and action, shall we say. Find himself up into 5th place. Shane Piggott dropping back down through the order, though. What has happened to him? He's loose. He's made a mistake. Is that coming out of, well, that, I think it's the 5th corner. Andy McEwen finds himself back up into the podium places here. But it's been a very hectic opening lap, this, Dan, and it's still not over yet, because look at this, wheel to wheel, side by side. We're seeing the Holmes and I believe Michael Seal going wheel to wheel. Actually, no, that wasn't the Holmes. That was Luke Cooper and Michael Seal. My mistake.
Yeah, it's definitely been action-packed. I think that's it's definitely the best way to put it there, I think, to be perfectly honest. Lee Holmes has a small look up the inside of Luke Cooper. Nothing as of this moment in time. Just about manages to sort it all out. Oh, that was something happened behind. What on earth was that? Oh, no.
Stimson, I think, might have had a bit of contact, perhaps. He's dropping back down through the order. Let's have a look. Actually, no, this was completely unrelated. This was Rob Noble going down the inside of Fiona Siddons. And then up ahead of this, well, this is Liam Stimson, and it was just a moment all by himself. It happened at the same time with the contact, which made me think that there could have been something going on there. But no, it was just a little bit too hot on the coil tyres. And that was what saw him spin the car all the way around, unfortunately, and have a meeting with the tyre barriers.
Yeah, not ideal. Something you definitely don't want to see. Oh, there's a bit of a little bit of a battle going on here. James Neve versus, I believe this is, I think, oh no! Oh, it's all gone wrong. Dear. James Neve getting caught up with, I believe that was Adam Fox. Oh no, such a shame. And James Neve, understandably, sort of diving straight into the pits, because that is going to be a hefty amount of damage that I don't think is going to be repaired. That is done and dusted. I hate to see, and you hate to see it, but yeah. Big shame there. Nick Clemens, though, at the front of the field, having a whale of a time at the moment. He's already pulled 7/10 on Andy McEwen. With Andy McEwen, we know he's got some pace. He was keeping up with Luke Cooper for all of race 1 and race 2. Jason Cooper, apologies. So I think as well, as long as he maintains everything. Oh, someone clipped the wall on the inside of turn 1. It's very easy to do. And I think, to be fair, looking at that, it was going to be Glenn Humberstone. Michael Clough that tagged the wall, because he went just a fraction too wide. Andy McEwen has already pulled 3/10 on to Nick Clemens. He would have pulled a little bit more because of that. Oh, wow, what a drive that McEwen had. Oh, my goodness. And is he going to try and make a move going down on the 2nd lap?
Well, he's going to try for it, isn't he? Side by side they go into the hairpin, and McEwen slides his car through into the lead. Great move there taking advantage of Nick Clibben's mistake to great effect, and he sees himself up into the lead of the race. Is this going to be a much easier run of things, though, compared to Andy McEwen's other race victory this season? Obviously, down at Watkins Glen, the one race that we haven't been able to cover this season because of issues outside of our control, iRacing that decided to throw a wobbly. So this is Andy McEwen's time in the limelight, in the moonlight, here for this final race of the evening.
Well, I think it is, to be fair. Realistically, I mean, this is going to be Andy McEwen's already pulled 4/10 out of Andy McEwen. Admittedly, only 4 minutes to, 4 minutes have gone and 11 minutes remaining in the session. But it's just something you've got to be cautious of, isn't it? You've got to be careful of, because you can't hold up for any period of time. You've got to be consistently on pace. You can't let off, because if you do, then that's when opportunities will come up for other people. So you've always got to have that little bit of wariness to what's happening behind you. Gaggle of cars here, 4, currently led by Glenn Humberstone, then Michael Croft, Luke Cooper, and then James Clark. So all these drivers here having a bit of a battle. We've got a bit of a gap, and then we have just behind, I believe that is Lee Holmes that's a few seconds behind. So realistically, I think if these guys keep battling, which they are doing now, then that's going to come down even more. Michael Clough going to go through up the inside of Glenn Humberstone. Is the move going to be made? I think it is. Have a look behind, though, because I think that's James Clark that's going to possibly have a move. Goes a little bit wide, though, so that's going to cost him quite considerably. So James Clark can't quite make it stick there, but Michael Clough is going to come back up the inside of Glenn Humberstone. Oh, I don't know. It's too close to call. They both can go side by side, 2 by 2. Noah's Ark style as they go through. It's wide enough on the entry, but not wide enough on the exit. So you've got to condense it down. You have to pick, and you have to decide who's going to go where. Because if you don't, that's when mistakes happen. It's actually Michael Seal, apologies, from the Orange Army 4040 racing car that was having a bit of a battle there with Luke Cooper, and Michael Seal managing to get past. The next person in sight for him is Glenn Humberstone.
Yeah, have a look as well. That gap between Andy McEwen and Nick Clibbins is roundabout stable at half a second. It obviously changes depending on the slipstream and through the corners. But for my money, if Andy McEwen can keep this turn of pace up, he's looking very good for a race victory. It's all about all the battling behind at the moment as Michael Clough takes a lot into the hairpin. A little bit slow on the exit, which will allow Michael Seal to close in. But Michael's going to be more worried about the other Michael behind. Michael Clough's going to be less worried about Michael behind, and Michael's going to be more worried about Glenn behind, rather. Let's get it all right. I'm getting confused because there's 2 Michaels together, and one of them is speared off Seal, sent off into the right-hander there. Just, I think, Glenn Humberstone caught out on the brakes, braking a little bit too late to avoid contact, and unfortunately that saw Michael Seal, well, getting hit up the rear and hit off the circuit.
Yeah, something that's it's not ideal. It's not what you want. Let's see if we can get a replay of that as well. I want to see that from a couple of different camera angles. It's a tricky one. Again, stewards, we have a look at it. There's different camera angles portray different things. You've always got to be cautious of that fact, though. But let's see if we can get a replay of it as we go down. So here it is here. Just going to be... Oh, yes. That's not ideal. Michael Seal was a passenger in that, unfortunately. Passenger from Glenn Humberstone there. So, yeah. I think it was just a little bit late in the brace. I didn't quite see if Glenn Humberstone touched the grass. Then he might have done, which caused him just to go a little bit too deep into the corner. So that could have been also not helping the cause of actually the contact that was made. Meanwhile, Nick Clemens, then and then Andy McEwen. Oh my goodness, these two have just run away with it. They got 2.6 seconds back now to Douglas Stewart, and they're just having a bit of a battle themselves on their own on the lonesome. I don't think they're going to complain, but at the same time, it's great racing for us. We get to watch a good sort of duel here between 2 very, very quick drivers. Pino Crivel has just got past James Clark, as we can see. Oh, but there's contact. Oh, they both managed. Oh, there's still more contact, actually. No, I'm going to take that back. Pino Crivel and James Clark still making contact all the way down into turn 3. I think you can see Pino Crivel. He's a little bit frustrated, I think, after the first couple of races, understandably, because they've not been ideal for him. His first race back after a small hiatus, and they've not gone to plan. I don't know, Ed, is that possibly sort of, having to just settle back into the championship now with the other drivers, or?
It could be, that is definitely a factor that can affect certain drivers. It's just adapting back in after some time away, and who knows what is some. Obviously, it's very tricky, isn't it, coming into a season at the midway point and missing a few rounds, occasionally coming back for others. But you know what? He's coming on very strong here. This fourth race is showing that he's got that experience back, sending it on the inside, the confidence to try and outbreak Sam Smith. But Sam, with an excellent cutback, retains 7th place. Cracking battle this. All throughout the field, there's been cracking battles, to be fair. It's a track that's really been good to these MX5s, hasn't it, in terms of the quality of racing we've been seeing. Nice and close, nice and hard racing, but on the whole, obviously barring a few little incidents here and there, it's been good clean racing, which is what we've obviously enjoyed to see. Look at how close they are though. Again, Pino Kriveld looking for a move down the inside, but nothing going for him there. So slots in behind and looks to get a good run here through Le Mans. A wonderful exit, and that's going to really help him all the way along this back straight into sunset. You can actually see the final gleams of sunset in the night sky here. Pino Kriveld lining up for a move on the inside. He's going to have his nose just ahead. This should be an easy move if he's able to carry the speed through and get the line right. Slightly overcooking it there. Has to slow it down enough to then hook up the apex once more and power out. Oh, that was close there. I think Sam Smith just about judged the length of his MX5 to perfection there. Pino Kriveld, though, taking 7th place. All the while, Glenn Humberstone looking for a move down the inside of Luke Cooper. He's going to send it. This is for 5th place. Is Luke Cooper going to be able to stay in front? I think just so. He's going to have a nose ahead, and I think maybe if he's late enough on the brakes, stay ahead. But look at this. Up ahead, Glenn Humberstone, Luke Cooper. Luke Cooper does win out on that fight. And I was having a look at times all through there as Douglas Stewart has been closing up to Michael Clough. Nick Clemens closing in, and oh, who's that off the track? That's Glenn Humberstone. Oh, a mistake from Glenn has seen him spearing off the circuit into the barriers.
That's going to cost him. That's cost him big time. Still,
got it out of the barriers. I think he's actually kept it going out of the barriers.
Let's have a quick look at this. Let's have a quick look. I want to see what happened here. So again, just on the curb. Does it flick one way, flick the other? Oh, manages to. Do you know what? I don't think he actually touched it. He didn't even touch the barriers.
Wow.
Wow, that is some good car control there from Glenn Humberstone. Manages to keep it out of the barrier. Fair play indeed. Can't complain. Can't argue with that. Sam Smith, though, having a bit of a battle with, I believe, looking forward, this is Michael Seal. This isn't Michael Seal. That's one of the Gatton Simsport cars. That's James Clark. James Clark and Sam Smith having a good old battle in the closing stages of this final race. Up ahead, though, you can see Nick Clemens not giving an inch of room to Annie McEwen. If anything, he's actually getting quite close. Let's have a quick look at what's going on up here. Liam Simpson's just made, I think Fiona Siddons has actually just made a move on Liam Stimson, or both of these drivers are having a bit of a battle. Let's see if we can quickly tag on the back of that, and then we will jump to the leaders for the closing stages. Oh, I think that was Liam Stimson's front bumper decided that it didn't want to be a front bumper anymore and decided to fall off. So Fiona Siddons and Stimson having a good battle. They've been side by side for a good chunk of this lap, as we can see. I think the move was finally done and dusted there from Fiona Siddons. So we've been doing capitalising on opportunities there.
Look at this up at the front. Michael Clough, Douglas Stewart, wheel to wheel through sunset, and there's contact there. Michael Clough, just a small tag, and I think as soon as that contact happened, Douglas Stewart slammed on the anchors, didn't want to make an untoward passing manoeuvre. In doing so, he's actually lost out there due to his chivalrous driving. Has been kind enough to let Luke Cooper through, so now it's going to be 3 cars fighting for 3rd place, but such is the margin from McEwen and Clemens to the rest of the field. There's 7 seconds that have been built up here, so a cracking drive from those front 2, just clearing a path for themselves up ahead of all the rest. We can come to them now and see again the gap, 0.4 of a second. It's stabilizing there. It obviously gets closer with Clemens on the straights. However, because McEwen is able to build up that advantage into the corners, while it looks close, it's not enough for him to make a move. Both of these drivers with 1 race victory to their name. McEwen taking his first race victory, only race victory at Watkins Glen. Clemens, who took his race victory down at Zandvoort, if my memory serves correct, and they're going to be looking to try and take top honours here for the final race at Sebring. For the moment, McEwen does look very strong again, building his advantage through the corners. Clibbins closing in on the straight, so it's not all over yet. I think we'll be in with a treat of one further lap to go as soon as Andy McEwen comes across the line, you know.
It's going to be close, though. I don't reckon they're going to do it. I think this may be the final lap, you know, because they've got 1:10 left, and admittedly, I mean, it will go quick enough. They've got to try and get through this little complex here, or it's going to be close. Because the flag has not been waved yet, but it's obviously a very difficult position because they don't really know, iRacing doesn't quite know yet if they're going to make it across the line. So they've got 50 seconds. Yeah, they should be fine. I think I'm gonna completely take that back, Ed. You are right. Ignore me. Let's move on.
Clibbins is close though. Look at this, 0.2 of a second. You're going to be lining up for a move into the final corner. Is Andy going to let this happen and allow Nick through? Because of course, Nick is getting out of this something fierce. He knows the best position to be on this final lap is second place. If you're close enough to make a move. Part of me was thinking if McEwen was just going to slam on the anchors and let Clibbins through early. So this is a real close battle here again. Nick is close enough, lifting out massively. You can see on board what the number 13 car is trying to do. Oh my
goodness.
And then, well, it's a stark contrast to what we're seeing at the front two cars. Here we've got about 5-6 cars all dicing for position. Look at this, Luke Cooper we're following at the moment, trying to go for a longer run, but also a faster run out of the corner to try and take advantage through turn 2 and then into turn 3. He's going to get around the outside of Sam Smith and then the inside, but then the outside once more, looking for maybe a cut back a later apex, but not going for him. So what can Luke Cooper do to try and make up some positions? He's looking very racy and trying to get ahead of Sam Smith into the hairpin. This is the final lap for all these drivers. They know what's at stake here. But that's the final time for them to go for a position. And look at that send from Bino Krajeveld. He's been just sending it all, even on all comers, and it's worked out for him because he's found himself up into 4th. Great stuff from Bino, and we're going to go to a replay of it here. Properly going for it down the inside. A little bit of a scrape, but I think it was.
Got away with that.
I think that's right on the edge of what's allowed. I think because he was very close, and oh my word, Luke Cooper gets a bump up the rear because Douglas Stewart had a very compromised line.
Yeah, just going back on that Pinot Grigio, I mean, yeah, he stuck up the inside to a point. It was almost one of the ones where, well, my car's here now. It's up to you to decide what happens next. And to be fair, again, to a certain degree, it is absolutely legal. You are able to do that. So it's something that we were going to see. And Pinot Grigio is going to have another look going up into P3. Is he going to get a podium? Oh, it's going to be close, though, because Pinot Grigio is going to get hung out to dry by Michael Clough on the exit. Manages to get it though, but he's in the worst position possible. Gets very, very sideways on the way in. Let's go now, because what's going to happen here between Andy McEwen and Nick Clibbins? Nick Clibbins is going to go around the outside because Andy McEwen's going to want him to go round. They want him to go the long way round. Is there going to be a cutback? I don't really know. Oh, it's going to be close. I think he might do it if he can get the cutback here. Oh, it's going to be close. I don't know what that noise was, but I think it's going to be coming across the line. Do you know what? Nick Clibbins has done it. He's just pulled it by 0.2 of a second. Andy McEwen's going to have to settle for second place because Nick Clibbins on the final lap, the final corner, manages to get the race win. Oh, that's a bit naughty there. That's not ended well for Pinot Grigio. So Pinot Grigio was 3rd, would have been 4th, and unfortunately decided that he wanted to be 6th instead. That's going to have a couple of replays, I think, there, Ed, is it not?
I think it might do, you know. We'll have a look and try and see exactly what's happened there, because that was very, very dramatic. Nick Clibbins taking the race victory here. So we'll see exactly what is going on. Oh my word, I'm just lost for words there. That was absolute pandemonium, wasn't it?
It was definitely something. Yeah, let's just have a quick look at this. I'm intrigued because let's see what happens from the start of this particular battle here. So Pinot Grigio goes around, he's on the inside, fair enough. There's going to be a cutback that you can see straight away there from Michael Su. You can see he gets a really good run. And then Pinot Grigio, he's almost hung him out to dry. Goes one way, goes the other. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not on. unfortunately. That's the problem is when something like that happens, you've got to be on the understanding that there is a car that's always going to go back. So Pinot, he does lose. He goes to the right. If anything, the only key thing is what happens to Michael Seal. Does Michael Seal move to the right as Pinot Cravaud moves to the left? I think that's the key thing there. So let's just see it on board from Michael Seal's perspective. He manages to get... So, actually, it wasn't Michael Seal. Sorry, that was... who was that was actually getting that had a bit of a moment there? Who was getting in contact with Pinot Cravaud? I couldn't quite see who that was. Was it Sam Smith? It was Sam Smith.
I'm trying to have a look through. Yeah, it's just all.
It goes to the left. Oh yeah, no, that's Pinot Cravaud. 100%. 100%.
Oh, dear.
Silly move. Silly move. Not necessary from my side, unfortunately. That's my 2 cents. I could be wrong though. It's just just a really, really good race. Just that little bit of misjudgment towards the end there. Bit of a shame. All in all, though, I mean, Nick Clibbins, wow. Do you know what? I knew he was going to be kicking himself away because he didn't. Obviously, he was second. Managed his P2. Was still a respectable position, but also I don't think he's really going to mind because he had a great race. To be fair.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, isn't it, to see the race end that way. However, Nick Clibbins, credit to him, what a drive. Wait to take his second race victory. Andy McEwen, I think, will be sick of standing on the second step of the podium there. He's been, in second place over 3 races, I think. I mean, he's in the Coles box now, actually, then, so we'll be able to run through the confirmed finishing order and then have a chat to him.
Indeed, we shall. Let us quickly run through the finishing order. So, Nick Clemens does indeed take the win for Syntec Racing. Andy McEwen, a bittersweet second place. Michael Clough, P3. Luke Cooper in 4th. James Clark, P5. Pinot Cravaud in P6. Sam Smith, 7th. Douglas Stewart in 8th. And Michael Seal in P9. Lee Holmes in P10 with Glenn Humberstone in 11th. Jason Cooper, P12. Adam Fox, P13. And Ashley Stimpson in P14. And Liam Simpson in the top 15. Fiona Siddons P16 with Robert Noble in 17th, and then James Neve in P18. Craig Cockrell, Colin Sansom, Julian Schroer, Luke Grunman, Simon Robson, Shane Piggott, Arthur Panzel, and Michael Lindstrom Hatfield. Unfortunately, not able to finish within the mandatory point scoring positions, but they are on your screen now, as you can see. Ed, I will let you take it away.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's been a hectic race evening for several drivers, but none the least this man who joins us in the Coles box. Andy, that was a very busy evening from you. Almost took another race victory, but still, that's been a great evening in terms of championship points for you, because I think if everything is correct on my end, you're now second in the standings.
The overall standings?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good. That surprised me. I wasn't really thinking about that. I guess something happened to Jason in that one, did it?
No, Jason is still leading the overall championship because he's got, I think, 2,640 points. However, I think you are sitting down on 2,144. Luke Cooper is actually behind you, 33 points back. So it's still very close into this final stage, but it's been excellent to see your race this evening. How has it been for you?
Yeah, it's been really good, actually. I think that's probably one of my most consistent nights so far. If it hadn't been for the crash in race 3, which was just one of those sort of things where there was a crash 5 cars in front and I just couldn't avoid it, really. But had it not been for that, I think I could have had 4 podiums, which would have been pretty cool. I'm annoyed at myself, though, for that last race. I should have won that last race. I knew exactly what Nick was doing. He was waiting till the last lap. I knew he was waiting till the last lap. And then we got into the last corner on the last lap. And just as I turned in, a yellow flag flashed up on my screen and distracted me. Just at the worst moment, it was just that little flash of colour. And yeah, that's my excuse anyway, and I'm sticking to it.
That's definitely a new one in terms of the Racing Drivers Book of Excuses, but still, it's been a great evening for me. I know you were saying you like to dedicate these races to one of your pets. Which one is it this evening, mate?
I'm running out now, aren't I? There's quite a big spider in the corner of my office, actually, which has been watching me all night. So I'm not a fan of spiders, but maybe he's been my good luck charm. So I'll dedicate it to that tonight.
Oh, don't get us started on spiders. Have you given it a name?
No, I'm just wondering how best to get it down from the corner and throw it out the window, if I'm honest. But maybe not. Like I say, if he's been bringing me some good luck, he can stay there.
Oh, I thought you might go a bit Harry Potter related, you know, Aragog, but we can do that there. Thank you, though, Andy. That's been a great evening from your perspective. And, well, where do we go next? Actually, you might be able to shine a light on this, unless you also have no clue.
Is it Imola? I know Imola's coming up soon.
Or if it is.
If it is, I'm really excited.
Alton, I think.
Oh, well, Alton is the greatest racetrack in the world, and Imola is the second greatest racetrack in the world, so whichever it is, I'll be happy.
And it is Imola, actually. For some reason, why do I think we're going to Alton? Oh, so I think I'm getting confused with other things I commentate on, Andy, my mistake. But yeah, we go to Imola next time, and beautiful track. We'll hope to see you there, mate, and best of luck.
Yeah, thanks very much. Looking forward to it.
So that was Andy McEwen, who has joined us in the conference. But we have another driver lining up, Dan. And how about you can take this one, because you can speak to our race winner.
Oh, I will indeed. Who have we got here? We do have Mr. Nick Clibbins. Nick, how are you doing? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Very good. Well, very good.
I'm not surprised, actually, to be fair. That was definitely something. I mean, we were watching this back on the broadcast, and we were talking about it on the broadcast as it was happening, and we saw on the last lap, you were having the second to last lap, sorry, you were patiently waiting, and we knew why. What was going through your head at that particular moment? Like, what was your sort of initial thoughts? Were you knowing exactly what to do and where to set up? Did it play out in your head as it did when you actually did it play out correctly, or was there some slight variations to what you were thinking of it happening?
It kind of played out right, but yeah, Andy did hold it off as long as possible to that last corner. I was thinking, I'm on the outside here, I've got no chance. I was just lucky he went really deep and I managed to get the switch back on the last corner, really. But yeah, I was just trying to play the long game on that one.
Well, I mean, it definitely paid off. I mean, realistically, it couldn't have been any later. Especially as well with Sunset. How was the car behaving? Because one of the things we saw a couple of times at Sunset is the car just getting a little bit upset on the balance of the car, especially the rear getting a bit upset as you went through the second half of Sunset. What was the car like for you? Because I said we saw it a couple of times where people were just getting a little bit too aggressive and the car spinning. Was that sort of something that was going through your mind as well? Were you trying to keep the car in check a little bit, or did you have a nice sort of like good flow through Sunset? Because it's one of the most important corners and ultimately gains you the win.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of earlier on I found it as very, very tail happy, but I used it to my advantage towards the end, and there was a nice bump towards the inside, so I can hold a tight line. Use the bump just to rotate the car. You just got on the power really, really early. Seemed to help, but yeah, that obviously helped on the last corner for me on that race.
Good stuff indeed. No, fantastic. Like I said, played off absolutely perfectly, and then going forward into the next round as well. I mean, this is obviously giving you some confidence. Are we going to try and are we going to be doing anything different? Are we going to be sort of applying a bit more practice time in as well before the next round? What's the game plan?
I definitely need a lot more practice for Imola. I've not actually driven it on this yet, so it'll be interesting.
Right, gotcha. Because you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like I said, as long as you put the practice in, as long as you have some confidence as well, you'll be well away. No, great stuff, Nick. Well, before we let go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
Well, obviously all the Simtech and Gattenlock. Obviously good fun racing. Obviously it's not been our best night, but been good with them, and yeah, obviously the family as well for letting me race as per usual. So yeah, just pretty much that's it really.
No worries at all. Well, Nick, absolute pleasure. Congratulations again on your race win, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in similar circumstances next week.
Fingers crossed.
Take care, Nick. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. And you.
There we are, Nick Clibbins, round 4, race 4, race winner. Fantastic stuff, Ed. Well, I think we have to round it up now, don't we? It is that time.
Unfortunately, yeah, it is the time of the evening where we have to end out all of the actions racing, all of the post-race analysis as well. And oh, what a race it was. What an evening of racing it was here at Sebring. We do go to Imola in a week's time, and that is a wonderful circuit. So much history, such a great track as well for our Mazda MX5s. There's been some great battles there over the years in the BSR Mazdas, so we'll be able to see yet some more action here on Absolute Sim Racing. But from myself and Dan, it's goodbye, take care, and stay safe.